Hey, good
Hey,
evening.
hey,
I've done
hey.
it again. I keep wanting to turn that off. Apologies for the background noise. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. Uh, what a day it's been with everything going on with the Mitchell interview and everything else. So it's going to be a bit of an extended evening because we've got quite a bit to get through today. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do the housework first, that out the way, and then we're going to jump into a different subject to start with because it's all linked. And then from there, hopefully we'll get a few more lads in on the panel, and then we'll go from there. Again, welcome to all that's watching across all of the platforms. If you are over on X, then please stop where we are now, jump onto YouTube, type in NUFC Talk TV, and come and give us a thumbs up or a like and subscribe. How you doing, buddy? You okay?
Hey, how's it going? All right?
All right, Ahmed. Yeah, cool. We're just doing the
What's
housework
with a
bit here, and then
cap?
we'll.
You look like a panda.
Come on, man. I've got to keep my image up for, the YouTube fans.
For the man them.
For the man them. Exactly.
I haven't got a clue what he's on about, to be fair.
Me neither.
Thanks to all the mods working tirelessly in the background. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoy the show, and obviously it just helps us get further as a channel to other NUFC supporters. Subscribe; it's totally free. We do content 7 days a week, and like I say, there's umpteen of us behind the scenes that jump on and off, talking about all NUFC stuff. And like I say, hit the bell for any future content, and then you'll get all them channels coming your way as we do them. If you want to support the channel, become a member. It's a small monthly fee, and that gives you a chance of winning prizes and members only content. And obviously, if you've got a question for myself or Win or Eve Amrit now, and Chris will be joining us soon, then don't forget to put a Q in front of that question just so we can highlight it in the chat and we can talk about it through the show. We do have a web page if you want to have a look at that. It's totally ad free, NUFC talk.tv, and then we update that as we get the information. My mate Win does it, and DX sometimes as I go, and one or two others jump on there and just add content. Like I say, we don't get paid for it. It's totally ad free, so you can read at your own leisure, really. Apologies for not mentioning everybody's stuff in the chat because there's lots of you guys that talk amongst yourselves, and that's great. We love that, but like I say, we try and only highlight the stuff that is valuable to the subject in hand. But again, if you want to guarantee that message, then use the $sign, and then we will guarantee to read that out for you. And all members and gifted memberships will be highlighted as we go through the show. So, obviously, Chris wanted to get involved with the Mitchell discussion. So I'm gonna what we've decided to do is have a look at what potentially could really affect us come January. And what I'm going to put up on the screen now is a list of all the lads' contracts that are coming to an end. I don't know whether I can make that bigger. I can bring that across. So from what I've looked at now is the fact that we have potentially only signed one player in the last three windows that could effectively be a first team 11 player on a week in, week out basis. And I know people are going to say, oh, what about Hall? What about Tino? But there's competition in them places. Now, apart from obviously Tonali's ban last season, he would have been a first team player throughout the season, in my eyes. And I can't say, as much as people will have an argument about that, For me, when you look at technically gifted midfielder, we haven't got anybody that can compete with him on a like-for-like basis. So the likes of Sean Longstaff and Miley, who obviously supported that role, would be on the bench. But when you look at the likes of Howe, there's always people going to be competing for that left back position. We've seen Kelly go in there now. We've got Target coming back that could potentially go there. The right side's a little bit different because we've got only really Tino, Trips, and Kraft that have been covering that position. And obviously with Emil Kraft now, more of a centre back these days, and I would probably class him more of a centre back than a right back. We've only really got Trippier. Now, obviously, we all know that Trippier's been pending a report saying that he's potentially wanting his contract nullified to go elsewhere. So, what my concern is now is come January of next year, which isn't that far away, every single player on this list could potentially talk to other clubs and go for free. So there's 9 players on this list, and we've obviously got Trippier to think about as well, because I don't think, even if he doesn't go to Turkey, unless one of the bigger clubs comes in for him, that's obviously in the Champions League, I don't think Turkey would benefit him, if I'm honest. But he's obviously looking for regular team football. So from that point of view, out of the players that we've got here on this screen, is there anybody that you think will have an extension to their contract? Looking at our current situation, and I know everybody's going to jump on, oh, we need to sell him, we need to sell him. What you've got to remember now, we have to sell before we buy. That's virtually where we've got to in the window. Even though we've got this £70 million that is, there for us to go and spend. But what that does mean then, if we go and spend that £70 million, say in January, it means then come the summer, we will have to do more or less what we've done in June, and that's sell some players. Do we need to be in that situation? Or is there somebody out of this pack here that can obviously get an extension to the contract to eventually look at being sold? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at saying, the valuation's not good now, but if we give them another 12 months, the likes of Sean Longstaff, I think he's done a really good job, maybe deserving another 12 months at the start of this season. Callum Wilson at 32, obviously, I probably not. Fabian Schär's now questioning whether he wants to go back to his hometown club. So there's going to be lots of question marks about the guys that we've got on their final year of their contract, and whether they're going to be staying or going. So I was going to ask you two, just for like as a stopgap, so we wait for Chris to join us. Where does your feelings lie?
The first worrying thing there is, if you look at all of those players and you see the transfer mark valuation. Now, we know transfer mark is notoriously low, but looking at those valuations, with the exception of maybe Dan Burn, because I think we'd get more than 8 million for him. I think we'd probably get more for Dan Burn than we'd get for Sean Longstaff. But you're looking at a combined,
but it's age, isn't it?
A combined total there of about 55 million, and that just shows you what we've got at our disposal once you get out of the first team.
Yeah,
and therein lies the problem. I think Callum Wilson will get 10 goals this season if he stays here.
If he's fit.
Well, he's got to.
Well, I reckon mid-September, don't they? That's when they're earmarking him for after the internationals.
Last season was his worst season for fitness, and he still got 10 goals. So
yeah, he's still got 10 goals, but he managed to rupture a bicep or a pectoral when running for the ball. Have you ever heard of any other player that's ruptured a bicep before? Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong here. Was it a bicep or pec?
It was a pectoral injury, but it wasn't
Pectoral,
when he
yeah.
was running for the ball. It was when he was being challenged, wasn't it? He was trying to
Okay,
turn
yeah,
his
but
body one way, and the player had got his shoulder, which obviously all that pressure going forward, unfortunately, tore one of his pectoral muscles. And you know that the issue I've got there is that's a freak injury, the same as Harvey
Yeah,
Barnes' injury
it
was
is
a
a
freak
freak,
injury.
and that was the problem last
okay,
season. We had too many freak injuries.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying he's not injury prone because we know he is. But what I'm
Well,
saying is, can
he's
we get some
proven, isn't
value
he?
from these players? Oh, absolutely.
He's
Because
proven to be
we
the
are in a
most
problem.
injury prone player we've had. Even overtakes Michael Owen's record, and we've all been there, and we've all had a moan at Michael Owen for not being fit, and because he wasn't fit, he got a pay-per-play contract for Man United after us. If I'm honest with you, looking at this list here, yeah, and we're saying January. These are all potentials to,
January is when they are allowed to go and look for
other clubs.
and
look for
these
a
are all
club.
potentials for a free.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you know, I'd like to keep Sean Longstaff as a squad player. I don't know whether he will be part of the bigger picture. You know, definitely is a valuable squad player, and he does a lot behind the scenes. So yeah, I would definitely want to keep Sean Longstaff. Callum Wilson, I'm not sure how much he's getting paid a week, but it may be a case of get rid and find a replacement if he's able to go to another club, if he stays fit. If not, then he's obviously going to stay with us. Fabian Shaw, yeah, wants to go back to his hometown, maybe get another season out of him, give him another contract. Hopefully, he'll be willing to stay. Dan Burns is always going to be willing to stay. He's a Geordie lad. He puts his heart on the line every game. Definitely need to stay and keep Dan Burn. Jamal Lascelles, 50-50 on him. I mean, if we'd signed MG from Crystal Palace, then yeah, I would say Jamal Lascelles is surplus to requirements. And I would say I would prefer Emil Kraft over Jamal Lascelles at the minute, because Emil Kraft is a wonderfully intelligent player, and I'm a big fan of Martin Dubravka.
Well, I don't think Dubravka will stay this season. I don't think.
No, I
If
know
I'm honest,
what you mean. Yeah, I know what
I
you
don't
mean.
think. I don't. I have every vision in January that lad will go anyway. And
He's
obviously,
a first team goalkeeper. He'll keep goal for half the Premier League teams, in my opinion. And yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. It would be sad to see him go, because he's been a loyal servant to us during the cheesy chips era. But what can we say? Mark Gillespie, again, we've got loads of keepers, so it would be his benefit as well to move on if he needs to. And John Ruddy's coming to the end of his career, isn't he? So for
so
me,
that would leave us with one keeper.
yeah. I understand what you're saying. I
Well,
mean, we're going to have to offer either Mark Gillespie or John Ruddy an extension to the contract. You know,
That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
I totally agree with you, because
yeah.
these to me now have run their course, and they're not
Mm.
going to make us better. They're not going to get us to that next level. But
With the exception of Emil Kraft, Dan Burn, and Fabian Shaw, because I think Shaw he'll still be a quality defender for another 2 years.
do you think? You see,
I think 2 years is probably pushing it, but
Okay, another year then. Let's just say that for argument's sake.
I mean, the younger lads. I mean, like I said, a lot in this list now are pushing 30 plus, aren't they? We know that. So they're not going to, obviously, they're not going to get massive contracts. They're going to get 1 year extensions, I would imagine, maximum. But the
Yep.
likes of Sean Longstaff, you could probably potentially give him 2 years just to try and get this net value, this market value back. Because
Mhm.
that's what I'd be looking at going, because he's got the age for him. He's only 26. So he's still got plenty of time to actually go to a lower Premier League
Yeah.
club, or even potentially a Championship club, and do
Well,
the job there.
I would say there was about 6 Premier League teams that Sean Longstaff would walk onto the field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, from the way I look at it now is the fact that our goalkeeping situation, we're gonna if we don't get something sorted, like I said, to me now, this opens the door for the likes of Gillespie to get another extension. I know it sounds crazy, but it does. Because like I said, Oddie's obviously going to go somewhere, so he's not going to be around. Mark Gillespie, to me, he's probably unless you obviously give Ruddy another 12 months, and then obviously they're looking to go for Trafford again, aren't they? You know,
Well,
in January,
Ruddy,
and have
surely
another look.
Ruddy's been bought for coaching, hasn't he? He hasn't been
Yeah,
bought to
he
play.
has mainly. But if you look in since obviously Dubravka's had his concussion issue, it's been Ruddy that's been on the bench as our number 2.
Hmm.
It's not been Oddie,
And
because obviously they're looking to get rid of Oddie straight away.
it's experience, and he would be the most likely to be able to do well on the pitch, given his experience levels, which is a huge thing, given keepers. But what you got to remember with keepers is that you've got the likes of Neville Southall, who played like into his mid-40s.
40s.
You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
keepers can play late on in their career, so age doesn't really come into it as much.
No,
Um,
but we're not looking at really good goalkeepers here, are we? That's what I'm trying to say. If any of
well,
these,
I'd
forget Martin
argue.
Dubravka,
Yeah, I was
forget
going to say
Martin
Martin
Dubravka.
Dubravka for me is my favourite tune goalkeeper,
Yeah. That's what I'm
and
saying.
it's been
I
said.
think you've got to forget Martin, unfortunately, because
Okay, yeah,
I think January he will be gone anyway. I'm really surprised that he's still here now, and obviously
yeah.
the Celtic deal fell through, because that's obviously that was penned in for him until
He's
they
better
went for
than that, though.
Schmeichel.
He's better than that. He can go and you can walk into a better team than Celtic. No disrespect to Celtic, but a better league. Um, I think if anyone's out there looking for a keeper, what a great buy he would be.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean,
I've been championing Dubravka for months and months, as everybody knows on the channel. But nobody's coming in for him, because he was allegedly going to Turkey, and of course Turkey window is still open,
yeah.
and there's nobody come in for him. So I think
It'd
we've
be a
got.
waste. It'd be a waste there, though, Derek. Win. He'd be a waste there.
Well, you're saying a waste. He'd be played. He could well be played Champions League,
Yeah.
But
which
Well,
will
I
keep his
get that. Yeah.
international career ticking over.
Yeah.
you see, at the minute
Champions League
we've got
knockout
a
football.
squad. We've got a squad of 31 players, right? And obviously, a majority of them 31 players, 9 of them, the contracts end this year. Some of them, obviously, you could argue the toss, like Dan Burn. He's played really well, and obviously captained the side at times, and his performance has been outstanding.
Yep.
If you think about it, you can't argue the toss too much about him. The same with Emil Kraft. So I would definitely look at giving
Hmm.
them two, like, as again for depth of squad, even if nothing else, uh, another 12 months, and like the likes of Fabian Schär, if he
Hmm.
was willing to stay with the club and give us another 12 months, then definitely give him another 12 months. Because again, even if we bring in the likes of Guehi in January or next year, whenever it will be, if that's who they look for. Um, it's having numbers in that right centre back situation. And to be fair, Jamal Lascelles, as much as he did have a couple of really good games, he seemed to nail a position down for himself last. In up until March, it seemed to be his alone between him and Fabian Schär, because there was no other competition, was there?
No.
And that's what I'm saying, So if as they're both coming up to their final year, I could only see one of them getting an extension going forward. And who's the better player in your eyes? Well, for me, it'll be Fabian Schär because of his ball distribution. The one thing that Jamal Lascelles hasn't got really is ball distribution.
Jamal Lascelles offers a lot off the pitch. He does a lot of charity work, and yeah, like you say, I mean,
you can only have so many cheerleaders, mate.
I know, I know. I think,
and that's what I'm saying.
I think Dan Burn's not going to want to go anywhere else. Let's be honest. You're a Geordie guy. Any one of us three, if we were playing football and we were on the pitch, even if we were on the bench, we would want to play football for Newcastle United, and our eye wouldn't get casted away anywhere else, even if it is another 10 grand a week. You're talking pennies when it comes to what they're earning. So, Dan Burn is definitely got a future in the club as a coach, as a mentor. So you've got to keep him because he fires the guys up. And on occasion, he's been leading the back line. When we've had a conversation about this before, Dan Burn stepped up to lead the back line, hasn't he? Like, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Who else is sorting them out? Like shouting at Livramento, shouting at Hall. He's got to keep those youngsters in line, and he's doing a great job at it. If I'm honest with you, we've defensively been lucky, but defensively also been pretty good. We've had the right players in the right time.
We have been resolute.
Resolute? I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, at the top end of that list that you had on before, Gary, there's almost none of them are going to take us forward in the long term.
No.
And on the basis, as somebody here, by the way, Betsy, I thought you were already a member, but congratulations, you are definitely a member now.
What's Chris playing at?
Jam Stasher saying, didn't Mitchell say not enough outgoings to justify the incomes or something to that effect? Well, he did, and we're going to come on to that.
Yeah, but this is where I've moved on to the 26 contract, where they've got like 2 years from now that you've got to look at, because the reasons why I question Kieran Trippier, because everybody said when he signed his extension that he had 2 years, which took him up to 2026, which is exactly what this web page actually states. But there's an argument saying that it was the club that could issue the 1 year extension, not Trippier. Trippier only signed the 1 year, and it was the club's contract, within the contract, that the club could have another year from him. But obviously things have changed now in his playing days, with him now being the understudy to Trippier, to Tino. So
Allegedly.
When we look at,
is he the understudy though?
Allegedly, that's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking he's not match fit yet. Like, I think he'll come back on the pitch and be a regular starter soon. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. But
I just think the only
rotation.
The only sellable asset we have got in the next 2 years is, unfortunately, Anthony Gordon, because we've got a direct replacement for him. If you want to bring money in to open up the revenue for us to go and buy players, because with him we've got, obviously, even though he's now playing on the right hand side, which is obviously something that we've been asking for months, we've got now Harvey Barnes that can play on the left side. And obviously, then we're going to have a look for a better right-hand side anyway. But for me, the only player that we have in this team that can be replaced like for like at this present moment in time without purchasing somebody is Anthony Gordon.
That reminds me of a few days ago when you'd put in the group, who would you rather sell, Bruno, Gordon, or Isaac? And there was a lot of people that were talking about that, and I remember saying, out of one of only, saying that I think Gordon might be a really good cash out. Like, and I agree with what you're saying here, but we can go into. Well, we can wait for Chris comes in and to talk about the Mitchell saga.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the requirement of money is supposedly something that we need. And if that's the case, out of all of them, yes, you've got a direct replacement, someone who is very competent, itching, dying to have a good season, right there. Do you know what I mean? And I totally agree with you. And I don't think many did on the chat.
Well,
Oh,
I certainly don't. I think
Right.
He's a downgrade.
Anthony Gordon is a must keep. If
Yeah.
I was out of I call them the 4 crown jewels, which is J7, Bruno, Isaac, and Gordon. And if I'm going to let any one of them go, for me, it's Bruno.
Yeah, I didn't
Then
get
you've
that
got to
either.
go out and buy, haven't you?
Why do you want to get rid of Bruno?
That's wow. That's a
Because-
wow comment for me.
Because he is the one player you can replace.
He's the heartbeat of the team, though, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's
Totally.
the one that links up
Like,
play from
he's
Well,
back to
yeah,
if he doesn't play well, Win, then he doesn't get. At the end of the day, we don't play well when he doesn't play well, and it's been seen since he's taken over the captaincy. He's not been at his game. Bruno's the type of player that creates the chances. He's not a fantasy football player that you'd put on your team because he doesn't get you that many points, but he will ping the ball about and create spaces, and that's not been happening this season so far.
No, well, I'm fed up with all this fantasy football nonsense, but that's by the by.
And the politics. Yeah,
Well, and the politics, but for me, you're saying if Bruno doesn't play well, the team doesn't play well. Well, Bruno didn't play well on Saturday, but the team did play well.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
So it's
As
Okay,
a team,
look.
as a team.
Well, yeah, as a cohesive, yes, but we didn't play the attractive football that we're known to play.
The team puts in brilliant performances to me, not when Bruno has a good game, but when J7 has a good game, and when Gordon has a good game, and when Isaac has a good game. Those 3 for me. I love Bruno to bits. I love Bruno, and I would hate to see him go.
Ooh.
But out of the 4, I think we could replace Bruno easier than we could replace any of the other 3.
I would say Joe Linton you could maybe replace, because I know he's been a great player, but if you look around, there's lots of defensive midfielders of that ilk, like Onana and Douglas Luiz have just swapped clubs or moved clubs. But I know Joe Linton's a different animal. But I think with Bruno, he's such an all-rounder. But also he's infectious. His personality is infectious. You look at him; he's always the one who's keeping the energy up and doing all that. And I think we underestimate sometimes the impact these guys have behind the scenes. Is it too quiet?
No. I'm saying that's Bruno.
Come on. Yeah, and you know what? How many times have you cheered to that in the East Stand win? How many times have you gone? Come on, yes, Bruno, get in there, good lad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I heard him on
In
Sunday.
an ideal world, we obviously don't want to lose any of these, but the only way we keep all of them, I think, next season is we somehow qualify for the Champions League, and then maybe we can hold on to the big boys.
And that's Eddie's job.
We need to be very clever, don't we? With our business, we need to try and sell some of these fringe players while their values are still there. Like Almiron, obviously, is one they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And other players who are sort of worth a bit of money. I'm trying to think who else you could cash in. Well, Trippier would be one, maybe. I'd rather he stayed for another season, but if you can bring in a bit of money, 12 million, 15, 20 million, do all that, then maybe that allows you to then keep the biggest assets. But we do need to get a new contract for Gordon, because that's ridiculous that he's got less than 2 years on his deal now. Got to get that sorted.
Yeah, the reason why
agree with you,
why I
Dick.
said
Less than 2 years and on very low money compared to the
big
rest
guns.
of the
Yeah.
big four, if you like.
Yeah, but the reasons why,
And I
because
suppose it's a big five if you stick Tonali in there.
Yeah, Tonali as well.
if
And Botman.
the reasons why I said
Botman,
Gordon
yeah.
is one, we don't have to go out and buy somebody to replace him straight away, and that's what I'm looking at now. If
Barnes is not going to give you what Gordon gives you.
No, he's not the same kind of player. He's
In my
effective.
opinion.
No, but what I'm saying to you is it does give you the abilities then to go out and buy a good right winger to support Barnes.
But then it's hard to get hold of them at the moment, isn't it? I think we'd struggled to get Mbeumo. We couldn't get Bowen.
I don't know. Did we even try to get Mbeumo?
I don't think we did.
I'd be more than horrified if we didn't. But I've never heard a single link of him being linked to, of Newcastle making an inquiry. Not one, which is why I thought it would happen. That's why I thought it would happen, because we hadn't heard anything. And that's the way they tend to do their business.
Could I refer to one of the comments, and I know we're not going over them yet, but PD Cave said, "We don't win when Bruno's not playing. It's a fact."
Well, it is a fact.
It's an absolute fact. And you're saying to us that you would prefer to get rid of Bruno over Gordon?
Yes.
Well,
I disagree. We disagree on a few things. We agree on a lot, but that's one that I totally disagree on.
I think that's a flip of a coin, though, isn't it? On those two players, it's a bit of a flip of a coin, really. I think.
Did you see the screen before with all the players going at the end of this year?
No, I didn't actually. I'm just surprised that Isaac Hayden's still got 2 years on his deal. That's a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
what I'm saying. That was ridiculous, wasn't it? The amount of the length of contracts we get even Almer on. It's been crazy. I'll just put this one quickly back up for you, and then you can have your say on it. Because the way I look at this now, we could potentially come January lose 9 players.
9. Hopefully, they're all fringy players.
Well, they are. They are all fringy.
Yes
players.
and no.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I imagine Dubravka's one, isn't he? Dubravka's one, and Ruddy. So that takes 2 of them out.
I don't know what's happened to
Gillespie.
And Gillespie. Okay, 3 of them are goalkeepers, so a third of them. That's all right.
Yeah, but that only leaves us with 1 goalkeeper.
Well, the Greek guy as well.
No, he's going to be gone.
Yeah, it sounds like we're trying to dump him onto someone, doesn't it? It's very strange.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said. It's all about these PSR issues that we had in June. Bringing in from Forest was obviously a little bit of a handshake for them taking on Anderson, who to me has been one of their better players since he's moved there. To be fair,
Forest fans
he's
love
done
him.
tremendous. Yeah, he's done tremendous there.
Him and Mente have both done well.
Yeah, they have. And I was just saying, if you look at what we've got here, that come January could all be talking to other clubs going on a free. Is there anybody that you would offer an extension on contract?
Okay.
Because of the depth of the squad now, obviously we're going to have problems buying players because we've already got this nest egg of around about 70 million at this present moment in time. So you're going to be limited on what you go out there and buy unless we turn our mindset towards the likes of a Brighton way of working, where you go out there and buy people that aren't as familiar in the market.
Yeah.
And then there are very good sell-ons, which is where Brighton have become very elite in their sellability, if you like, as assets. So is there anybody that you think out of there you could say? I mean, for me, Sean Longstaff with his age gives him another 12 months, and we could potentially get.
You've got to share the screen
for him.
I
haven't. I do apologize.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah, I know most people won't agree, but I think Sean Longstaff as a backup squad player, local, especially for Europe. Fabian Schär I'd give another year. Dan Burn I'll probably give another year. Emil Kraft depends if we've got money to buy, but I would certainly give Schär and Burn another year, but they would probably become the backup centre backs as opposed to first choice. And then Callum Wilson, you'd like to think, if he could stay fit, he'd probably still be an asset to the club. But I think the problem is, how many games are we ever going to get out of him now for a season? We might get 15 games, 20 games tops. Is it worth?
It's like I said, for me, no. It's having had this back operation that he's had, and obviously my missus just having her own back operation, and seeing how she's a lot more mobile now than she was before. For me now, Callum Wilson's like a blank canvas. If this was the thing that was niggling his hamstrings and other issues coming from this one disc issue that he potentially had corrected, then for me, we have to wait and see. Now he's potentially back after the Euros.
All right, okay, that's interesting. So
I don't know about that, Gary.
That's what I said. You've got to start somewhere, haven't you? Last year was his worst year.
We offer him a pay-as-you-play deal, 1 year.
Yeah.
We say, look, you'll get paid well, but you have to play.
That's it. Look, DX, that's what Michael Owen did.
At Stoke.
Totally. No, for Man U. And at the end of the day, pay him well when he plays because he's going to get his goals.
Yeah.
And he's gonna, yeah. But I totally agree with you because then that opens, if he's injured, that opens us up to be able to get a replacement in, or a temporary replacement in a lot better. The finances start to marry up, and so on and so forth. But yeah, totally agree with you, DX.
Well, thank you. I think he's such a talented striker, isn't he? And you just think, the career he could have had if he hadn't had all these injuries. But just been unfortunate his body doesn't want to play ball.
That's right. Yeah. And, to a certain extent, Danny Welbeck was like that as well.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Or even Les Ferdinand in the later years. He had
in the later years he was. Yeah, totally. And, Michael Owen, and, you can go so far as to say whatever.
What's up, everyone?
Here he is.
Hello.
Oh, we've got Sam
Oh, he's been out tonight, hasn't he?
Hey, I'm just bringing a little bit of excitement, man. Everybody's just serious.
Yeah, we're in serious debate.
It is a serious debate. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say a serious debate. It's just wondering what we can keep on and what we can let go. Because at the minute we are stuck in this quandary of not being able to sell because we haven't got sellable assets. And because we haven't got sellable assets, we are now stuck with the fact that we've not got the commercial business to see us forward. So we're stuck in the quandary at the minute.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But how you doing, folks? Hopefully you're doing well.
Very, very well. Apart from obviously what's happened today. Before I go, can you guys hear me? Okay, because the guys in the chat were saying that I'm very low.
I raised your mic up because it was I think it was low. People were saying it was low, but I raised it up.
You raised it up. You
raised
me up. Absolutely.
I can just adjust the volume real quick. But what's that? Where you going, man?
He is the Messiah.
Where'd you go? We got 3 subscribers from reaching 2,500, so we should be reaching that tonight. We got a long show, so we should be reaching that tonight. Come on, folks! And I'm glad to have Amrit in the show, man.
Cheers. How are you doing?
Oh, I got the sound effects now, man. I got the sound effects going. Did you hear that? I
did. Yes. What was it?
Amrit.
Amrit.
Oh man.
Listen. I got some interviews to do tomorrow. I'm not even going to lie to you. I even bought this. Can you see this? I don't know whether you can see it on the screen. No, not there. There. It's like a microphone that you plug into your phone. I've got some guys lined up for tomorrow for some interviews. Maybe not live. We'll record it. We'll get Winner's major interviewer. Yeah, I'll be behind the camera, and we got some interviews about the Mitchell. The Mitchell debacle. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Some surprise footage.
Hey, so round of applause for Amrit, man. Round of applause.
But,
Cheers,
Thinking
guys.
ahead of the curve. Thinking ahead of the curve. DX wants to move on. You know, he doesn't give a damn what Amrit.
I'm proud of Andy.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. There we go.
Somebody's getting too trigger happy. Who's that? Is that brother DX?
Derek.
But Derek. I'm pretty sure it's damn Derek. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there you go.
Typical Derek.
But good stuff though about the free the people that his contract is coming up. I certainly do not agree with most of what's being said here. I agree with a lot of what Amrit was saying. I don't understand this Gillespie deal. We got to give him a new contract for what? I mean, I'd rather have Trafford. I'd rather have another. I'd rather have any young person under 21 than Gillespie, because you can bet on their future. Not Gillespie. Gillespie will never not give you nothing 2 years from now. Gives you nothing on experience, I guess. What's the experience
He's a local lad.
of not playing a damn game in the last years? What's the experience there?
He's a joke.
You know, and I know they used it for the, you know, assuming that we were going to make Europe, and you know what you get for assuming. So nothing happened. Nothing happened there. And you get in Rudy, you get all these.
The argument behind it, Chrissy, though, was the fact that we're going to end up with one keeper if we're not careful.
Well, I mean, you make those moves. I mean, at some point you have to. You already got yourself in this hole that it's unbelievable. You got 5 goalkeepers, whatever. I would try to reason with Dubravka. I would try. Now, if that doesn't work, then obviously what's wrong with Blackademus?
No,
I mean,
no.
Well, what's wrong with him being the second goalkeeper?
He couldn't even. He was third choice goalkeeper at Nottingham Forest behind Matt Sells and.
Okay,
well,
I mean, I'm just saying. But who's better, Blackademus or Gillespie?
Gillespie, probably.
No way, man.
We probably don't know.
You're taking.
We probably don't know, Chris. Like, yeah, we probably don't know. We need them in action.
Well, we've seen Gillespie save a penalty, and we've seen.
Oh, that's right.
We've seen Blackademus pull off a couple of good saves against Hull.
Fluff a couple of crosses.
Yeah.
Save penalty against in Australia. Okay.
Yeah, he's a decent stopper.
Well, look, we got to talk about what
he's paid his wages, but by the prize money we got for winning the tournament.
Oh, I forgot that's Derek's objective. Just paying your wages, just staying, keeping your head above water. That's it. With that, he's won everything. That's his trophies. Well, other fans want to actually win something and get closer to competing against a better.
I don't.
No, from what you speak of and say, you're happy with just riding the wind, seeing what happens. You should be a sailor, man.
I'm enjoying the ride, absolutely.
But we got to talk about this interview, this bombshell interview, this shocking interview that we came about yesterday. It was later yesterday, wasn't it? Maybe
it was late in the day.
Yeah, late in the day. One thing about that, because some people say, fans are never happy, but as critical as I always am, I don't know why this wasn't. There's no video of it, just written. It's not the 20s anymore, where you need newspapers. Now, I'm not obviously. They have to put what he said verbatim, so I'm not trusting. What they written in the Daily Mail and the Chronicle, etc., because all of them were invited. But I would just like to see a video. I don't know if live or just a recorded video of or posted on YouTube. The man himself speaking with his own words, facing the camera of what's happened. That's one thing.
He's been quoted.
You've got his own words.
Yeah, well, that's just it's
not really.
I mean,
not really.
I
There was.
I want to see the man. I want to see the man in front of me on my screen talking to me as a fan.
Yeah, it was edited. It was edited, Chris.
Was it? I didn't know.
Yeah, there was some things that he said.
I've looked at 4 different transcripts from the Chronicle, the Mail, Daily Mirror, and the Shields Gazette,
and then newfc.com.
All press.
And then UFC.com, and the transcript is, for a comma or two here and there, identical, and it's all in quotation mark.
Yeah,
So-
that's
That's
fine.
right,
They become
because-
liable if they misquoted.
So-
didn't they? So
if you want to
No,
see it,
that's right. Though there was a segment that they said this is not to be released to the press.
that's right. That was an
Um,
off the record section.
There was off the record
Would have
statements
still been
quite a
off
few
the
times.
record if it had been
Wait,
Wait, see
video.
that again. We get into that off the record crap. What off the record? It's everywhere. There's nothing off the record. You know, you either want to make a statement or you don't, man. Don't half-ass it. Just go out there. These statements that we're gonna, read are not.
there were some worrying bits.
They are worrying statements, cut through,
Mm.
straight to the point. So I would like to see the man speak with his own words. Me see him.
Mm.
This is 2024, Mighty Win. This is not the 30s, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Well-
people you it's so easy. They can do it on the YouTube, etc. But listen,
Well, there you go.
well, okay, that's something. That's something you typed. Okay, can we take it?
No, that's not something I typed at
Hold
all.
on, we go.
There's a bit here though, if you want it.
Mm.
Yeah. We got it published by the Daily Mail Chronicles. Also put up, and we're gonna watch the reactions across the board from the Premier League. A lot of people reacting. We're also gonna get into Twitter reacts. I don't know if that's gonna be a segment, but people are saying their piece on Twitter as well. So we're gonna take a look. Some of it, but they're just opinions, just like ours. So if we can say our opinion, everybody can have an opinion on Twitter, on X, on Threads. There's a new app. You guys know that? Threads. It's kind of the competition of Twitter, but yeah. X. So, but Craig Hope reporting inside Newcastle. He said Nixon loses influence, but wants to work in new structure. But it's not about what Nixon wants to do, is it? It's about what the club wants to do with Nixon. That's the way it works. Or should be. Nixon questioned last season by some fans, some of the fans that we had on this show when we were starting, that they said that they knew him, and so they were getting information from that. No clue. Those fans are not here anymore, obviously. He also said no turkey move for Trippier, but that's kind of, we kind of expected that. Botman back in December, and better news on Willock. So Willock's injury, it seems like it's not going to be that big of a deal, and so that's as far as news is concerned. However, about the interview, he says transfer strategy at Newcastle was not fit for purpose. Not fit for purpose. So
did he actually say that?
Exactly. So we're going to get
Paul
into
Mitchell
that.
didn't say that. No. This
So
is
why
somebody on Twitter saying
but excuse me. This is Craig Hope again. Craig Hope is writing this. That's somebody on Twitter. You yourself have said that Craig Hope has the ear of the club. So
right.
I would hope that he's not going to make something up and possibly get sued over this, right?
Well, is
So
it
he
in
has to put
quotation marks?
exactly what it
If
is.
it's a headline though, it's different.
Yes,
than
it
a
is in
headline.
quotation. Fit for purpose. It's in quotation. It's quoting the man. See, you see where we get into this this whole thing when we don't have a video of it that we can react to it live. But that's what we got to work with, I guess. That's not. If you don't, Mighty Win, where did you get that document that you had put up? Did you type that on your own?
No.
Just copy and paste. What did you get?
I've got a screenshot, and Wynn's got a couple of screenshots. I think. Is that right, Wynn?
It's Chinese whispers, Chris.
Okay, so exactly. You know what? Let's take. Hold on. Let's take a read. Take that out, DX, and let's take a read of what Mighty
let's
Win.
see what Mighty Win.
So, what are your reflections about the transfer window? So, I can't read that. So, I mean.
Right.
I would like to get the document. That's what we got to prepare for.
I think it's difficult coming into a predefined strategy. Football clubs do have a strategy. It's pre-planned for a long period of time before just the 1st of July. It's no longer ad hoc and just thinking on your feet. I don't think that goes on at this level. It definitely doesn't go on here. You look how methodical our head coach is. I think you look at us as a business and how we are evolving. We have plans, we have strategies. My learning coming in a prearranged existing strategy is hard. You ultimately then find yourself supporting on things more than driving elements of it. For me, that was learning.
Okay, so he came to learn. All right,
Okay.
next question.
But there's more to it, isn't there?
Next question is
Exactly. Where Where is the damn interview, man?
That is
Well,
the interview.
I mean, okay, so
It's behind closed doors.
Win was about. He said in 18 years of transfer trading, he's never had less influence
than he has had in this window. Well, that's what
yeah,
he says
he's
there.
had. So he said he had less influence.
That's what he
than
says
has
there.
in- Yeah, so that's quite a big thing to say.
You
isn't it? 'Cause
ultimately
Dan Ash-
find you're supporting on things more than driving elements of it.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was supporting the process. So I think that's quite interesting because that's similar lines to what Ashworth was apparently concerned about. He didn't have much say in a lot of the transfer dealings. So I just wonder if there's a little theme here, a little thread running through this.
Well,
Clearly
there is.
You can't have it both ways, can you? Because we're talking about Craig Hope. Craig Hope was the one who said that there was a schism between Ashworth and Howe. And that, for example, Hall was an Ashworth signing and not an Eddie signing, which is why Eddie wasn't playing him.
Thank you, Ashworth.
So obviously Ashworth did have influence. So for him to say he didn't have influence
on what?
But do we know he wasn't Ashworth signing? I mean, that's just speculation, isn't it?
Well, it is.
It's all speculation.
It's all speculation, but I think there's more smoke.
But here's the thing: if Ashworth, what is the influence that Ashworth had? He had influence on his own job, which is getting Lewis Hall. So he got Lewis Hall. He didn't need any help. He got Lewis Hall, and obviously Eddie didn't play him, so that's Eddie's job. He didn't play him. Now a bunch of you guys say he wasn't ready to play. Well, the first game of the preseason, he was ready to play all of a sudden. So in actually a few games at the end of the season last season,
they played at the end of this.
And so Ashworth can't put him on the pitch, obviously. So, and there were reports that he had an issue with his nephew, Andy Howe. So
there were reports, allegedly.
I mean, Darren Neal's
everything is alleged that we do, man. There's nothing. Obviously, there's nothing. There's not even what Eddie says is factual on a lot of ways. But he's clearly been saying that he's taking a step back. On a lot of his interviews, he said that I don't have the same influence as I did before. That's not necessarily a bad thing. He says he throws the punch and then he throws the rock and then hides a hand. You know what I mean? So type of thing. And he says this during this horrible window. So when things go bad, he says that.
He mentioned the Newcastle tax as well, didn't he?
Oh, he did mention the Newcastle. Which he did say that he pulled out of the Guehi deal because to set a precedent.
Yeah.
Set a precedent.
He didn't want to set a precedent.
Yeah.
Right.
The price kept changing.
Which is okay. I don't know what Gary thinks on that, on those specific. What is your take on that?
Well, like I said, I think having listened to umpteen people comment on this first subject that he said about coming in July, where he hasn't got much influence on who to look for and everything else, and they've already been looking. The transfer window for momentum is literally already in the process. So he's gone in there thinking, I have to support the process now. And that's where everybody's turning on him to make, obviously, things happen and to make things like to buy players. Now, you've got to be in the swing of motion before you can actually have a stamp of authority.
So
he thought was, well, hold on, Chris, you've asked me to answer your question.
Yeah, okay, go.
What he's turned around and said is he will have backed their plan, and that's virtually what he's saying. I will back your plan and go with what you've already started. The process is in situ. I've come in July. We've got one more month to go before the end of the window. If I come in and upset that, then people will point the finger at me. So he's backed Nixon, Andy Howe, and Eddie Howe on what their plans were. That's all he's saying.
But my thing is, I don't understand why things. If I get DX to host a show, I want you to host this show. He accepts, and he comes on and he doesn't say anything because he wants to.
Yeah, but
he wants to acclimatize himself to the show. No, you gotta. That's your job.
No.
Yeah, but run the show.
But if you said to DX, I want you to host a show, but I want you to do X, Y, and Z for me in the show. Yeah. Then DX would have his own choice, but I wanted to do this. So it's a strategy in plan, isn't it? If you haven't got a plan and you're just asking, like you asked me, can you start the show today? I came up with an idea of going through the contracts because I knew you was going to be late talking about this. And that's what I'm saying. You can't make a statement like that without knowing the facts that what he walked into. And the facts was they were already in transition on the transfer market.
So
Now-
he
And he
so
actually says that.
So what he said is, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to watch and let it ride, and then not worry. When is he going to be ready? Next, the winter window.
Well, he's already said when he says when he's going to be ready in the interview.
Yeah.
So
That's what I said. You've got to listen. You've got to listen to the
3 to
interview.
5 years.
When does he say when he's going to be ready? Excuse me, DX.
No, he said there has to be a 3 to 5 year plan, but I don't know if he said specifically when he's going to be ready for like.
Yeah, well, yes, he does though.
Well, go on then.
My job is to get us in 5 years' time to our ambition.
There you go. 3, but that's
What you
that's
said. What you
that's
said,
got to be the goal. So when is
And
he
he
starting
says
his job?
teams are built if you, on average, recruit 6 players in a 3-year cycle. You get to a squad of 18. I think we forget the quality of the team we've got. My job is to get this is quotes. This is from Mitchell in the interview. My job is to get us in 5 years' time to our ambition. We didn't have the sales window we thought we would have. It was all aligned with the head coach. Teams are built.
Little dig there.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, but don't forget, he's had a lot of press saying that it was his fault.
Because Eddie said, we can't sell these players until we buy players to replace them, which is what we went through at the start of the show, saying it's all very well getting rid of these, but if you've got nobody to replace them, what do you do about that?
Yeah, but that's an impossible strategy because then you're going to end up not getting the players you want in because you're delaying to try and sell players. You have to sometimes take a punt, I think, and just get someone in, and then
you can't just keep buying, can you?
You
That's
can't just
been our
keep buying.
strategy for the last 5 windows.
There was clearly no strategy anyway. So we signed nothing. We signed nobody.
But is that Mitchell's fault? That's what I'm trying to say. He's now come into it. Well, I don't think it is, Chris. I don't think
he is the director of football.
But he's following the route that they've already put into process. He's not going to change in July. You do not change the strategy in July for 1 month Monday.
If Amanda and Meredith were in there, I would agree with you. But who is in there making transfer moves?
Yeah, but I think this is the reasons why we're in trouble.
Where do you point the finger? Because Amanda and Meredith weren't in there, and we had the worst window we've ever had.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but you can't just lie on your laurels, man. You got to do something. So who was in charge? I'm asking you to tell me who was in charge of the transfers.
Darren Niels.
So it was Darren Niels. So he is the culprit then. He is the one at fault. Well, somebody saying that.
If I'm pointing the finger anywhere, I'm pointing it at Darren Niels.
Well, I think a lot of people are doing that, but I don't really know if there's any weight to that. Why Darren Niels?
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because Darren Niels oversaw the calamity that we got into pre-June, which meant that we had to sell Anderson and Mindy. So Darren Niels oversaw that happening. And that was when he had the meeting with PIF saying, look, I can't do what I want to do because bear in mind, at the time, he was not a director at the time. Amanda and Meredith were directors, so they had seniority over him. And so that was when Amanda and Meredith were shown the door and Darren Niels was given a directorship.
I'm not convinced.
I'm not.
I do agree with you in some ways that he does seem a little bit incompetent in some aspects.
Well, Darren Niels, dropped the ball big time. He's out there, bantering in the shack instead of doing again. I say the same thing about the Red Bull stuff. Do your job before you do something else, man. Do your job. Do your job. Simple as that. And I'm not clearly, he's in my opinion, he's the director of football. He needs to direct the football side of things, which includes recruiting, getting in players. He was complaining about the recruitment. What exactly did he say about the recruitment? That we are not, it's not fit for purpose. The Craig Hope put it in quotes. So what exactly did he say? If Craig Hope is lying,
Well, I've never seen it in quotes. There you go.
Well, I'm seeing it right now in front of my screen. Craig Hope saying fit for purpose in quotes.
Craig Hope is saying.
Yeah.
But wait,
Yeah,
let's
Craig
find
Hope is saying. Darren,
put it on
Mitchell.
the screen, Chris.
The thing,
put it on the screen.
The thing is, you nobody know where's the interview. Everybody, that's what I'm saying. You bring in these reporters with a recorder device that they can just type in their offices, and there's no click. If you have a video of the guy, there's nothing else to be said or discussed because he's saying it in front of you and can't edit it. That is the my question earlier. By the way, he also
why have they all got exactly the same transcript?
Well, apparently the Daily Mail didn't get it right then because they're putting fit for purpose in quotes.
The only bit that's been quoted
That's in a number of them.
In a number of them, exactly. And he also said though, and the same thing I said about Eddie, that he throws the rock and hides his hand. Mitch is doing the same. Throws the rock and hides his hand because he's right here after saying that the recruitment department is not fit for purpose. That Andy Howe is part of that recruitment. The one of the recruiters of that, if not the head of the recruitment.
Again,
if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on. Let me
finish. My point is, I'm criticizing the same way I criticize Eddie Howe, Paul Mitchell. He throws the hand and he throws the rock and hides his hand because he's saying right here after criticizing the recruitment department, he's saying we want Eddie Howe as our head coach for as long as we can. But we also recognize we are on a journey, and we also recognize his quality and his potential as well. I don't know. He says, I've never been a guy scared of interest in any of our staff members, especially our head coach, and especially from a level of organization from the FA is talking about the England job.
What the hell is going on? I know he said that because I've got that as well.
Yeah,
I've never seen anywhere.
Oh no, okay. So
Darren Mitchell, Paul Mitchell, not fit for purpose.
There's a bit more context to it, though.
Yeah,
apparently he said the transfer strategy he walked into, the way we were spending money before he arrived, like to get into the PSR trouble, was not fit for purpose.
Exactly.
That's what it looks like.
One of the things that we're going to react to later on, and the Mighty Win might want to step away on this one because he loses his mind when he hears Simon Jordan speak. We're going to react to his video, and I actually do agree with what he says in this particular situation. If Paul Mitchell doesn't think that Newcastle United's recruitment department is good or fit for purpose, why is he taking the job? I don't understand that. It's pretty cut and dry to me. It's pretty simple, man. It's pretty simple to me. DX, you were saying something along those lines?
Oh, well, it just says in the mail, this is the quote that we've got here. Is it fit for purpose? Not last winter. The winter before that. Is it fit for purpose in the modern game? Other clubs have adopted a different approach over time with more intelligence, more data, You look at the money we've invested up to this point, 250 million net over the last 2.5 years. But we haven't sold a player. He's basically saying the way we've been doing it is not going to work long term, that kind of thing. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, exactly.
What he said was that going up to June, we don't want to live through that again. We got away with it by the skin of our teeth, and we have to make sure that we don't end up back there anytime soon because we just survived. Now you can construe that is saying not fit for purpose, but that's not what he's actually said.
I guess we, I don't understand because it's been all over the place.
We don't want to live through it again. And he said it was the hardest transfer window he's ever had. Da-di-da-di-da. All true.
July part, especially July the 1st, that was horrendous, wasn't it? Watching players having to be flogged around.
Yeah, June the 30th. It had to be done before June the 30th.
Yeah, June the 30th. Yeah,
terrible. Which he said, and everybody agrees. We were in constant dialogue, Eddie, myself, Darren, and the rest of the business, to make sure that breaching PSR didn't happen. That's in quotes, so I believe he said that.
But you know who's quoting? Editors, man. So, you know, it's...
But no, I've read 4 different reports, and they've all got exactly the same transcript.
Because they've been told what to write. This is what you know, I'm listening to you and I'm absorbing it. They have been told what to write here. I mean, the bottom line is Paul Mitchell's come out as sporting director. You know, not the CEO, but the sporting director. You know, there was one central discussion point from what I can see, and that's the long-term competitiveness, a data-driven approach, similar to what he's done at Leipzig, Tottenham Hotspur, and Monaco, right? But the problem is here, right? And this is what we're not trying to... No one's hitting the nail on the head here. I'm listening and I'm enjoying it. But no one's hitting the nail on the head here and saying, actually, Paul Mitchell's talking bollocks here, in my eyes, right? We're looking at a signing. He's trying to put, well, supposedly trying to put the blame on Eddie for having limited targets for this window. Yeah, I don't believe that that's the truth, and I don't believe that's what a sporting director should do. If he's going to be similar to what the other sporting directors that we've had in the past, put offers on the table, push things forward to Eddie, and get a yes or no out of that. But at the end of the day, right, he's talking about players not being sold and all the rest of it, and we're trying to be on the right side of here, all the rest of it, right? That's great. But the bottom line is, do we forget we were about to spend 60 million on Guehi? So obviously 60 million's there in the pot. That was there, ready to be utilized somewhere. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah. So why wasn't it utilized elsewhere? And that's Mitchell's fault, in my opinion. It is.
Yeah, but you're not reading the full interview then, are you? That's what I'm saying. If
No,
you
no.
read the full interview... No, hold on.
Okay.
The full interview does state that Eddie Howe stated that he was the number one and only target. And that's why he said, I've stepped back because it's already in plan. And he was the one that started the negotiations. But like he said, 2 weeks ago was their final negotiated point. They wasn't going to go any further than that. So that we've known that Guehi wasn't going to come. Well, he did 2 weeks ago because they put a final figure down and they wasn't willing to move. In actual fact, what they ended up doing is move further away. They pushed the money up to 70 million.
Yeah.
So they had no plans whatsoever in getting Guehi through the door because they give him a final price. That was 2 weeks ago. And then when he was asking about other targets, he did state that he in one interview that I read that he was a couple of names that he put forward, and Eddie Howe said he is my number one target.
But why are we wasting time? If you're saying right here that we are no way, shape, or form, they knew that we weren't going to get Guehi for 3 weeks in a row. He is the only player we actually bid aside from Ilanga, 50 million plus Almiron and his mama, and they still didn't want to take it.
We
At
got
the
lucky
end, in the last hours of the deadline, who threw in the Ilanga bid? Was it Howe? Was Eddie Howe? Because apparently, Eddie, if we can't blame Paul Mitchell, then who's doing the negotiations? That's what I want to know. Who is doing the negotiations in this club? Now let me. I found the fit for purpose comments. This is all apparently because this is the Daily Mail. God forbid they're probably lying. And I'll tell you what, if they're lying, we need
exactly.
we need PSR money. So if they're lying, Newcastle, you better sue them. You better sue them. I don't know if that counts for if we sue somebody that count for PSR. But anyways, hey, listen, we gotta get money some way. He says this. I think it's difficult coming into a predefined strategy. He said, should our scouting and recruitment be driven more intensively with a wider reaching net? It definitely should. Because this is becoming a really nuanced space now. When you can't just capitally fund everything every year and buy loads of players at peak age and peak price. Of course, it needs to be. talking about the recruitment. And that's the responsibility of me, the scouting team, and Eddie. Let me move on to the next one. Sorry about the adverts and the pictures and all that stuff. Nothing to do with me. The Daily Mail is king of that. He says, next, is it fit for purpose? Not last winter gone. The winter before that, is it fit for purpose in the modern game? Because other clubs have adopted a different approach over time with more intelligence. Clearly, we're not using our intelligence in our scouting team. More data informed than we are. Actually prospered in this window. So more data informed strategy prospered this window. More intelligence prospered this window. Clearly, he's saying that we are not there. So he also says, that's where, hold on, that's where we have to,
data-driven approach.
That's where we have to grow to be now.
And that's his job.
So basically, Mighty Win, he didn't say it's not fit for purpose.
He didn't have time to implement that.
That's perfect. Regardless, that's perfect.
And the
that's perfect. I agree with that. That's perfect.
Yeah, okay. But one thing's for sure is that Eddie Howe, after reading these transcripts that they've been given, literally, because, you know, there was other things spoken at the interview that we don't know about, and that's been said. But Eddie Howe is either going to go one way or the other here, because, you know, putting that in the public to say Eddie only wanted one person, I don't know whether that's true. And quite frankly, Mitchell is a sporting director. That's his responsibility. That's what he's there for. And at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying, Gary. I totally understand. And he moved on to talking about things like, you know, like you were saying, Chris, sustainable growth, you know, aim to strengthen the squad, fostering young talent, all the rest of it. I mean, listen, that's wonderful stuff, and that's great from a director. But the director takes responsibility. End of.
I agree with you. What I'm saying to you is let's take a step back. Let's take a step back to where we were in Germany doing the training camp. And you had the Mitchell and you had the Eddie Howe debates there, having a chat, because everybody was saying there was some type of niggle going on behind the scenes. And they both come out. Now, Eddie did cast his net there and then and said, as long as I feel supported, right, and as long as I feel wanted, that I'm doing this job, I will stay here and continue the plan. Yeah, that's more or less what he said, wasn't it? Am I lying?
No, you're not.
You're not. No, then you had Mitchell come out and say, we're here to support the coach and everybody else by implementing what we need to do and the strategies going forward, right? So everybody now has a job. I think the biggest problem we see here is he's come in, and because I still believe that Eddie Howe holds a lot of the cards, they're trying to not step on Eddie's toes too quickly, because there's still the England job there for him to turn to if he wants to go. Because I still don't think that's dead in the water yet. What I also think that's happened is Eddie has said to him, this is my number one. Now, in the past, don't forget, Eddie's held all of the cards, because you've all seen the Prime videos where Amanda is doing all the negotiations on what Eddie's asking her to go for.
Hey, maybe that's
so
what
he's had no competition whatsoever.
Right.
Now you've had a lad come in and say, this is the strategy where we need to go forward. It's too late in this window for me to operate, so I'm willing to go with what you want.
Exactly.
Because I cannot adjust to a new strategy this late in the year, the calendar year. And it's as simple as that. It's not as if he's come in there and said, I'm doing nothing. I will go in there and negotiate the player that you've asked for, because this is what we've got. But the club are not willing to go for the money or pay the money that Crystal Palace wants. They've put a price on his head, and that's where it stayed. Now, unfortunately, regardless of whatever we think, whoever you're going to, point the finger at, we are not a club at the minute that can throw £70 million away every bloody window that comes open, because we haven't got the funds. It's just not there. What we're going to end up doing is selling our youngsters like we did last in June, just to get us out the shit that Amanda and Merdad put us in my belief, because they were too gung-ho and getting bloody Howe's players that he wants there and then without thinking what's going to happen at the end
Well-
of the bloody season. And that's what we need to look at. And that's the strategy that he will put in place.
With
But he
that being
cannot
said-
do it in this window.
With that being said, we finished.
And he
I
was
mean,
specifically asked about Howe's Germany quote. And he said, there is a commonality in terms of our vision. The way we see the game, we're very aggressive. The types of signing, very physical, dynamic, must be able to use the ball to a certain level. We've had some really good conversations. And that was then reiterated by Eddie pre-Japan, when they first arrived in Japan. He said that him and Mitchell had a good old convo, and that they were on the same sheet.
All right.
You know what? You're totally right. Sorry, Chris. Just one thing. But what I've taken from what I've read is that he's addressing questions about a lot of the things that have been going on. You're telling me that the signings that we've made, have we made any real bad signings? Okay, fair enough. Chris Wood, we could say, but we haven't made bad signings. He's addressing questions about Newcastle's development structure. He's addressing questions about modern scouting techniques, to align with what he's done previously. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. But as a director, he's coming in July. He's got one sole job: strengthen the squad.
He didn't come in July. He didn't come in July. He didn't come in the 20th of July. He came on at the very beginning of the month. So
there you go. He's got to strengthen the squad. He's got to say, that's my priority now. We'll deal with how we do things afterwards.
So, okay, I'll go back to the question that I said at the start of the show. In the last 3 windows, we have brought in one player that, if you like, competes with the first 11, and that's Tonali. So who are you going to blame for that?
Or maybe Barnes, I don't know.
Well, Barnes doesn't, did he? Because he was behind that Gordon.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, well, again, you see, we bought Gordon as a right winger.
Supposedly.
We bought Gordon as a right winger. He played on the left wing because Barnes got injured, and that was when he came through with flying colours.
You guys are looking at a very narrow point. A narrow point in this transfer window, and you're not going back and having a look at what's happened in the last 3 windows.
No, you're right. You're right, Gary. You're right. We needed to strengthen. We needed to strengthen.
If you're getting Bruno Guimaraes, you're getting Isak. You got all those guys. You can't complain because we made it to Champions League. We did all that. Now,
but we needed to strengthen, Chris. We needed to. We needed more players in.
But then again, we get into the same issue. We're getting back to PSR.
We did strengthen.
No.
Okay, we got Tonali, but like I'm saying, we needed more depth in the squad. We needed another striker.
We've got Gordon in the winter, and then we've got Tonali and Barnes in the summer.
Yeah, and I think we needed a few more signings that summer.
2 wonder kids.
You've
Tino
also
as well.
Look at what he said. You've also got to look at what he said at the end.
I'm not even counting the 2 wonder kids. I'm talking about immediate strengthening. I mean, to be fair, Gordon was bought to challenge with Murphy and Miggy. Barnes was bought to replace ASM.
Yep.
And Gordon was bought but then when Barnes got injured, Gordon played on the left. And
he lit the world on fire. Yeah.
Hold on. I really, if you want to, talk about why we got into PSR issues in the beginning and why we had to sell players like Anderson and Minte, I agree with you. It was Gary. That it was because Amanda and Murdoch were running the transfers.
That was
perfect. I understand that. However, it's not like they went and bought 10 mentions in a room. They bought players to get to the promised land and closer to it. Perfect. However, make a period, because that has nothing to do with this window. PSR never been an issue in this window.
So let me just stop you there for a second. In the rest of the interview that we've not even bothered looking at, this is what I said. You've made an assumption from the first couple of sentences that he's put out there. At the bottom of the interview, it states that when the Guehi deal fell flat, he was offered 3 or 4 different players, and I'm talking about Mitchell offering Howe 3 or 4 other players that could have supported us.
I got it in
And
front
he
of me.
said,
I got
no,
it in
that
front
was
of me.
our number one.
I got it in front of me. I got the Daily Mail. What Daily
There you
Mail
go.
wrote in front of me. I got what the
No, I
Athletic
get that.
wrote in front of me. Hold on.
I think that's a sellout. You know, I think he's selling out, Eddie. Here.
Well, let me quote what
Yeah.
was said. Let me quote what was said, so people can make their assumptions as well. Because listen, nobody knows shite here. We just go and give our opinions on what we see, what we read, what's put out by the club, what's put out by the big sports media, and so you know it's nothing but opinions. So we all got to respect each other's opinions. He said right here, Mitchell did not refer to Guehi by name, says the Daily Mail, but he said that Howe did not want to pursue other targets. End quote. We had a player as the key core target, he said. Also, quote, we were still in dialogue with Palace all the way through, but Eddie was very clear, and it's not up to me after 7 weeks to say, end quote, we'll do this and that, because I'm in a supporting role. I'm not questioning what he's saying. I'm questioning the process in itself. Paul Mitchell is in a supporting role, according to him.
In this window.
Well, but we shall see what happens there. I don't even know, what happens.
Then you can judge him on that one. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't judge him on 1 month. It's impossible to judge anybody on 1 month.
Well, he works. He his bread and butter is 3 months out of the year, man. Remember that.
Yeah, but it takes
Chris,
the rest of the year then to find them, doesn't it?
Everybody here before when Paul Mitchell came in, everybody here, including the Mighty Win, who's muted and keeps talking to himself there, he said, I know Paul Mitchell is coming here with players on his mind because he got it all lined up. Because we'll be naive to think that he'll just get there and all of a sudden switch the switch on and start working the 4th of July. He must have known before what he was what he was going to do. That's what the Mighty Win said. Also from the Athletic about transfers. In quote of what Mitchell said, this idea, because a lot of people said that Eddie was Eddie. We're arguing amongst ourselves here that matters to no one. But we are not looking. Gary is saying you got to look at the bigger picture. We're not looking at the bigger picture here.
No,
These two guys. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying before you get at me. We're not looking at the bigger picture here. That Eddie is going against Paul Mitchell and Mitchell against Eddie. Eddie, the whole transfer window has been saying, I'm not as far as the transfer window, as I was before, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Paul Mitchell here saying this idea that me and Eddie hadn't spoken through the transfer window was false. Up to the last minute, he was fully updated.
Who do you blame for that? Because Eddie said he hadn't spoken to him at all.
Yeah, well, Paul Mitchell saying they've spoken until the last minute. So what are we doing here?
Well, he also stated that it wasn't in there that he spoke to Eels and Eddie Howe more than he'd spoken to his wife this month.
Mm-hmm. And so...
Yeah, but can I just say one thing? I'm going to make a prediction here. Because if a director that's meant to be on your side is starting to tell the public that, what you've done is single out one person, Eddie has turned around and said quite publicly it's been a difficult couple of weeks. After yesterday, I'm not going to be surprised if Eddie's pissed off. He's going to walk. Sorry, excuse my French, but he's going to walk. That's what I think.
Well, you know what?
Is that Eddie just throwing his toys?
Can I just put some common sense on all of this?
Okay, yeah, we're idiots.
The whole reason that not just us five, but the whole of the fan base are getting so agitated is because everybody wants to point the finger at somebody.
Why
not just accept
that
Mitchell came in too late into this window?
Whose fault is that?
To have any real effect? Well, you could argue it's Dan Ashworth's fault.
Dan Ashworth is at fault. The one that he's not even here no more. Come on.
Well, until we got the money, for Dan Ashworth, we weren't out the FFP. trapdoor.
Yeah.
So
nobody's
what I'm saying is, listen, the squad we've got is perfectly
That's
adequate.
perfect. A mighty win. I think we're going to win the Champions League. We're not even playing it. I agree with you, man.
Let's see what happens going forward.
Let's wait and see. I mean, I think we got to have.
I think the PFI have been very very cute.
Very cute. Do you mean they're saving the money or what? What do you mean?
I think PFI have been very cute. Whilst Lee Carsley has just been appointed temporary manager of England, so that door is still open for Eddie to take if he wants it.
Right,
it is open.
And Mitchell's telling him to take it. Basically,
we are not going to waste our money, for want of a better expression. To get someone else. In this window, because Eddie's said that he's quite happy with the squad. So let's see what happens when we get to December.
All right. Look,
and if it turns out that by then we don't have Eddie because maybe he's fallen out with Paul Mitchell or whatever, hasn't got the degree of control he wants, whatever, then we'll still be in a position in January to back whoever comes in and back their choices instead of backing Eddie's choices.
Well, we have to see what. Go on,
the Leicester.
That doesn't mean either one that Eddie's a bad manager and Spatty's done me out and I want one player or no players. It doesn't mean that Paul Mitchell is a bad DOF. It means neither. It just means that the timing's been all wrong and that Amanda and Mairdad, whilst they were in a position of power, allowed the financial situation to develop badly because they thought that somebody was going to come in on the 24th of June and buy Bruno and all the worries would be over.
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. The DOF, the manager on the press conference and says one thing, and the DOF comes on the next day and says something contradicting the manager. And he wants us to just sit here and say and talk about Kevin Keegan and when we got to the finals, talk against Arsenal, against Man U, everything is great. It's all of that. We got to talk. We got to be critical on what's happening. You can say your opinion. You can say nothing's happening.
You
that's
can
fine.
choose to be critical if you want.
Well, but that's what we're here to do, man. We're not here to hold hands.
I'm not here to be critical.
We're not here to hold hands. We're not. Oh.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. Win. If we go on a 5-6 streak losing streak, you'll be the first to say, "Oh, it's all gone wrong. We should have done this and we should have done that." Listen, we have been lucky. We're lucky where we are.
And look, in my defense, I have praised the team for getting the results, which is something that we haven't been used to doing lately. Thank you so much, Ian Fleming, for the super chat, man. Sorry. £5, nice. Thank you, brother. It says Mitchell will get it right, guys. Trust me. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. We're talking about. Let's get into the comments though, because I
haven't seen Gallagher Brown before. Hello, Gallagher Brown.
Gallagher Brown says, need to stop creating these narratives as fans, where there is always someone to blame. Media fan the flames of that is for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is blaming Mitchell.
So no, I'm not blaming. Everybody's got a blame here.
Everybody's
got a. I was talking to Steve Wraith yesterday, and he mentioned something that caught my attention. That obviously he believes that everybody's got a little bit of blame, even Eddie, which I agree to a certain extent. And I've actually said it here, to the mighty win. I don't think for the transfers alone, before this bombshell interview, I didn't think Eddie had nothing to do with it because he says, I like this player and you see if it can be done. The 3 weeks negotiating for a player, that's not Eddie's fault. That's what I believe. Now, he said, Steve Wraith, that he also blames PIF or the Mighty Winds is PFI. I don't know who PFI is, but PIF because they are absent. They are just basically landlords at this moment. The chairman shows up on one day, and it makes news and everything. But that they are just there watching everything from above, and he believes that there should be somebody stationed there in Newcastle overlooking everybody. But that's the job of the CEO, in my opinion. Or should we have a chairman assistant above the CEO to look over the Newcastle United operations at St. James's Park?
Yeah, let's get like the
Here's
NHS.
the thing.
NHS. Let's have more chiefs and Indians.
Let's
that's a
got
problem.
away with their thing, haven't they?
So okay, now let's get to the comments though, because obviously I like your background, man. You're looking good, looking pretty sharp. He's our sideline reporter. He is our Keith Downey.
Cheers.
He is our Craig Howe, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reed.
Appreciate it. I got something lined up here over the next few days, but I'm worried about what Mitchell said about Eddie Me and how Eddie's going to react.
People don't want to
I am worried.
The lines is unbelievable. Let's get to the
I'm
comments.
not worried one little bit.
Okay. Let's see.
You're on the way out, man. We got to be worried. We got to watch this for the next 30 years.
You'll outlive us all.
Hey, bro, so drinking damn Monster, man. I told you stop drinking Monster, man. You got to drink Red Bull now, at least. Support the damn team. Stick Eye says, sell long stuff and buy elite world quality players, midfield world class. PDK says Mitchell was head of RB Global Recruitment and was based in South America. In my opinion, it was stupid that we did not use his black book of players. That down to Eddie Howe. PDK.
I don't think he was ever based in South America.
Probably not, but I don't know. Toon Army says, is there a video of the interview? Tone and context will help. No, and that's why I'm telling you, it would be so much. It would probably less. It would be more a good debate, a better debate, instead of kind of guessing what the tone or what everything. And that's why it is 2024, man. Stop playing with the. Paul Mitchell says some what some people could say some close to inflammatory things. If you have a video,
if you choose to make them inflammatory, they're inflammatory.
Yeah, well, okay. Everybody else did. You didn't. Key 88. If England offer Eddie Howe the job, it seems to me it could be the best outcome for all. Ooh, it's beginning to look like they are heading down a rocky road.
Yep.
Why is that, Key 88? Everything is good. Paul Mitchell and Eddie Howe, they're just hugging and they're just praising each other.
Exactly.
Why is that? Because you have common sense, Key. You have common sense. It's written right there. Stephen Harker question, Derek, if we were deducted points, what would you think about the previous recruitment, Amanda Murdat?
I would think they'd done a shitty job, and I think they did do a shitty job, and I think that's why they are no longer with us. I will never ever forget what she did for us.
I don't think they did a bad job, though.
They did in the end, but
because look,
that's what I'm talking about. In the end,
I don't think they did a bad job.
But to allow us to be in that situation because I
what's the situation, man?
Confident all the way.
I didn't want to.
AIF would not allow us to be in that situation.
I did not want to get rid of Mente. More than Anderson.
Yeah, more than Anderson.
But Mente. However, if you're telling me you're gonna get Bruno, you're gonna get Isaac, you're gonna get Tonali, you're gonna get Gordon over Anderson and Mente, I'll shake your hand and take that.
No. Exactly.
So I don't think they did that. Well, Mente, he's playing that. He's playing the Paris.
No, but I'd rather have Mente than Barnes, probably, to be honest.
No, Barnes is good, man.
Yeah, let's see come the end of the season.
Okay,
but that's why I don't think they did. That's why I have convictions, and I don't think that they did a bad job. The mighty wind is all over the place. He thinks they did a bad job, but then he says exactly when
they were naive.
I'm saying that they did a bad job in allowing us to get into that situation at the finish. Very bad job.
Pardon my French, though. I mean, I'm not saying anything French or bad, really, but where Murdat and Amanda gone when we sold Anderson and Mente, or where that was?
No, they went straight afterwards.
They were still there, or no?
On the cusp, yeah.
Immediately afterwards.
Well,
I'm pretty certain what happened then was that the PIF sitting in their ivory towers in Riyadh or wherever they are said, "Hold on, what the hell's happened here?"
Well, I wonder.
And then they contacted Darren Eales, and Darren Eales threw Amanda and Mirdad under the bus, and they said, right, get them out, and out they went.
But so according to you, that's right, because they did a horrible job. So it's good that they're going.
I agree. But
Okay.
but I think Darren Eales was equally culpable for to be allowed in that. Except, as I've said before, they were effectively his bosses then, because he was not a director at the time. He didn't get his directorship until they had bombed off and he got some of their shares.
Who got the share? Darren Eales owns Newcastle now?
He got some of Amanda's shares, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, damn. That means we can't sack him. Shit.
Of course you can sack him.
Oh, well, PIF can sack anybody with the. I just said, I'll invest 200,000.
Why did we give that twerp the shares, though? That's the question.
That's weird, though. Why wouldn't they go to PIF?
Yeah, why didn't PIF just snatch them all?
Why would they give them to Darren Eales?
Well, presumably it was part of the directorship deal that they wanted.
I do think it's interesting with the Leicester City situation where they've got away with their. So maybe there's a bit of scope now that because it's so ambiguous,
and also
they only got away with it because they got relegated.
But maybe we can
get relegated.
Also, the Chelsea hotels is good. We can
the Chelsea hotels.
Chelsea fan talking about. Do you even have a hotel to sell? Trust me, we'll have some.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like there's ways around it.
Yeah,
some hotels will go up. All right, let's get to the comments, though. Let's finish the comments. Let's do it because we got a lot to talk about, man. James Thatcher, if that's Mitchell's view, then what the heck had the front office been doing the past 3 years?
I don't know what he means by that.
I don't know what he means by that. Fox, it's now time to give Mitchell the control he needs from this point on. Clearly wasn't comfortable with our targets, but within 1 month into the job, he can't change the whole process midway through a window. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Rosie. She's been a member for 4 months. This is smash the likes, guys, subs, guys. Thank you so much, Rosie. Thank you for being a member for a month right there. Tune Army, a CEO job is not to sign players, just to make sure funds are available to sign players. Well, look, I tell you, the director of football technically should be above the coach, and they should still work with each other.
What Tune Army is saying there, the CEO, absolutely right.
Darren
Eales, he was culpable for the mess that Amanda and Mirdad got us into. Because he obviously should have been able to foresee that way before the 24th of June. He should have been able to foresee, he's got all the figures. That's his job. He should have been saying what we're doing here. And if they are turning around to him and saying, look, we're going to be okay because Bruno's going to be going on the 24th of June, that'll sort us out. And he's went to them. Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? And they've said yes.
At the end of the day, he's not. Well, at the time, he wasn't an owner, so he still has a boss.
He would have the option then to go above their heads to PIF, which would be a dangerous thing to do in his situation.
Yeah. All right. Next, Helsazar. Eales is the CEO of the club. He should always be questioned about what he actually does. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Steven says, Derek, I ran PSR to the red line. Behave about Amanda blaming Eales.
So basically, they pushed it right to the limit.
They
had to sell the player.
I'm convinced they thought somebody was going to come and buy Bruno before his clause expired on the 24th.
He also says, what does the panel think fit for purpose means in their opinion?
It's not doing its job.
It's not good. It's not going to cut it. Specifically when you hear
what it says on the tin.
And specifically when you see it written right there, he says in modern football, that's not going to work. That to me is deep cutting, man.
Yeah, I don't understand that, Chris. I don't understand that.
We are still in all ways.
I understand it. I don't know why you can't understand that, though.
No, I'm saying what's not fit for purpose? Is it the fact that we're not data driven, or is it the fact that we're not?
But also the trading. I think the trading.
No, it
exactly. We're not selling anybody. We're just buying.
Yeah, we don't.
When you're not selling shares and you haven't got the revenue, you're going to come unstuck with.
But from what I read, he said nothing about selling. He said about data driven.
Yeah, he
which
said
is
we haven't
recruiting these players. And maybe he's talking about recruiting top quality players that are not your typical. They're not on the news every day.
That's
he
right.
did,
Yeah.
spoke
And you
about
spend less
selling
money.
Well,
players, and he
that's what
spoke about
data-driven
Liverpool.
means. Of course it is.
Yeah.
He spoke
You're
about
only highlighting
Liverpool.
certain parts of the interview there, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you look through all of it, he does say about you can't just keep buying without selling players. We need to be more strategically based than that. And that's, like I said, we're not the likes of Arsenal. We're not the likes of Man U or Chelsea. We're like Brighton at the moment. We need to be looking at players that can come in, do something for the team, but also be an asset that can be a sellable target for other teams. The same as Brighton have done. And that's the type of thing that he wants us to be.
All right, Jim Stasher, why hasn't our scouting reach improved since the takeover? You would think that that would be one of the first things you would do. PDK, can Howe work?
Now, isn't it?
This is actually a question right here, and that's the question for the panel. Can Howe work under a sporting director? Ashworth now looks like Mitchell.
I don't think he likes it.
I mean, let's be fair. Let's be honest about this.
We love Eddie, but he is a control freak.
Absolutely.
So you think he can?
Where does this come from? He's a control freak.
He is. He
Mate,
time will tell.
Amanda and Gerdad.
Mate, are you not reading
everything he wants?
I don't understand this. He literally says, "I only want this player." And Paul Mitchell confirms that. We could have had other targets. We could have had other targets.
But he was offered other targets.
Yeah, look right here. I was scrolling down. Right here. He says, in quote, there were other targets. Could there have been more? I would say potentially, but Eddie was very clear that he had to feel comfortable that the person added value because we have really good players. That's why we ended up where we did. So, Mighty Wayne, are you not understanding me? Jail for DX for that change for a change. Oh, DX didn't do nothing. Oh man, we gotta do it, man. Ain't got
one of the good guys.
We gotta do it, man. We gotta put you on the joint, brother.
I'm moving over there.
Hold on, where's that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable, man. We gotta put you on the joint. That's the power that the fans have, you know. They just do whatever, man. Thank you, Rosie.
Where is he?
Dangerous.
Unfair
Dangerous.
to DX, but there you go. Jill Wynn for stating Eddie is not a control freak. Now I don't have a cell for.
I've only got one jail cell.
The jails are bursting. There are too many people in them.
Hold on, let me see if we can do it like this.
Well, hang on. It depends on how many likes it gets. If it gets one more like, then surely. Oh.
I'm on day release.
So DX is half in jail. You can slide out that.
We're going to
brother.
Yeah, man. Hold on. Trying to work it out, but
I can escape.
It's kind of difficult. So you're gonna have to lean that way, man. We need another person to get on, and so you can push you all to the other side.
He's on jail.
Niles got 5 likes now, so I think we've got to put the brother Win in jail.
Oh yeah, that's true. We can go about that. We can go
6.
Yeah, we can go like that, man. Let me, because you got. I forgot you get likes on your super chat. By the way, start some comments because you got 80 comments right now. I'm behind because I'm reading these, the good ones that you see. All right. Can Eddie Howe work under a sporting director? Everybody just started shouting. Gary, do you think?
We've got 261 people watching now on all platforms. Have every one of you subscribed?
Yeah, we got to check that out. Have we reached 2,500?
Have we got 2,500 yet? Come on.
We got 2 left, man. Come on, man. We got 2.
We need 2 more subscriptions to get the 2,500.
2 more subscriptions, man. Come on. We got 120 on YouTube alone. You got to subscribe. Come on now. This is a lot of banter, a lot of discussion, a lot of super opinionated fans.
All free content.
Yeah. So, okay, more comments. No, can Eddie Howe work under the sporting director, man? I want to know your answer.
I think he can work under the sporting director.
Gary says no.
I agree with Gary.
Yeah, and Amrit?
We don't know yet. No. Listen, guys. Listen. Let me tell you, right? Let me tell you. I'm going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how he reacts to this choreographed.
Glass shards on the prison wall,
No, very interesting to see how we react to this choreographed, scripted interview that has been. We've all read into it. We've all looked into each sentence and thought, well, hang on a minute, what's he talking about here? For me, it's a whole load of excuses as to why the job wasn't done in the over the transfer window. Yes, I understand.
Can I just jump in there? Just so you don't carry on too far, because
No problem.
I do love listening to people talk, but I also think sometimes you make some really good points that we never come back to. Now, a couple of days ago, as a channel, we put Alan Shearer on the screen where he was doing, why don't we get these people that are doing all these discussions about players coming in, players not going out, the likes of, sporting directors, and we all agreed, yes, it'd be great. We'd love to see them give us an excuse or a reasons why, and now we're slating him for doing it. The lads cannot win.
The thing is,
think about what you're saying before.
No, I get it, Gary. I get it, but he shouldn't be putting or even hinting that Eddie is at fault here. They need to be a team. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion.
They're clearly not a team.
They're not a team.
They're not working together. They're working well apart.
And that's the problem.
And that's what I said. As Mitchell had instructions from, I don't know, Eels, to say, listen, we can't lose Eddie because of the England job, so treat it gently. Don't go in there like a bull. Give him what he wants to do, and if we can reach the target of the player that he wants at a right price, then we'll bring him in. But if we can't, then it's bye-bye. And that's what's happened. Now, what I don't understand, and I've never understood this, why Eddie Howe has constantly come out at every interview and said he's had nothing to do with any of the buys or purchases of players. Never involved with anything. Doesn't talk to anybody about it. Hasn't got a clue what's happening behind the scenes. So how does that make Mitchell feel if he's been doing nothing but supporting Eddie?
Well, you can tell because he came out and set the record straight. He said, you know what, this dude is going to do that. I'm coming out and saying I've talked to him until the very last minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where we've got a problem.
Thinks his knee bother, man.
Wait.
No, man, it's unbelievable, man. You're old as hell, and you and somebody persuades you like this that easy. You're fixated with Eddie, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, I tell you what, you can persuade us about absolutely nothing.
That's not my job to. My job is to give my opinion and let you have yours. That's not my job to persuade. That's why we have true freedom of speech here. No matter how much we disagree, we get to say what the hell we want. All right. So I was going with the comments. A question from Steven, though, that you guys can answer as well. Who out the panel thinks Eddie will be here next summer?
I am, but I doubt it.
I don't know.
I'm dubious about the next 2 weeks. Never mind next summer.
As with any manager, whether
Jose
Eddie will be here next summer depends on one thing and one thing only, and that is results. And if he doesn't get results, he won't be here. Simple as.
They'll bring Rafael Benitez back.
I think the beauty of this, the only reason I say is there's a beauty of this coming out now. It gives the lads 2 weeks behind the scenes with no football, where they can actually sit behind the scenes and discuss these points of view. And hopefully from this interview and Eddie Howe's interviews, they can sort something out. Because at this present moment in time, they're on train tracks, but they're running in different directions.
Eddie's going to the England game.
Eddie is.
He's going to the England game, and that's
only in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, but what?
Why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he? Exactly. Let's think about this. I've said it first, by the way.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So you got
do you think this is him making his move?
Hey, he's never, as far as we know, never been reported he's gone to a game. All of a sudden, it is now.
Yeah,
we have got 3 players playing this time. It's just an excuse. I mean, obviously. Yeah.
Or you might be checking out what he's taking over in the next month or two.
But just an upgrade on. Oh, sorry. Was there?
More chance of him going to United than England. There you go.
Ooh.
The more chance.
Yeah, you change your tune. You change your tune worse than I don't know. Like I don't even know the analogy.
Ashworth left
Up and down.
mainly
Ashworth
because he had
despises Eddie Howe.
exactly. He's going. Yeah, Eddie, come on, bring your nephew too, because we need him as the head of recruitment. Come on, man, give our man. Kirk Howe also updated earlier, on his post. Updated. I don't know what he updated, but let's see. Mitchell incredibly strong on need for a change with recruitment strategy at Newcastle. He also says, in quote, Eddie is very smart, and I think he knows there needs to be evolution. And he says, I don't know, this is a phone call emoji. Oh, there we go. A phone call emoji. He says he also insists they spoke for an hour every night after Howe said he wasn't in the loop on everything. So, I know we mentioned some of these things, but regardless, just he updated that. Well, we shall see what happens. Moving on. Other people have been commenting, though. Other people have been having their say about this whole transfer window saga. And, Luke Edwards, another a reporter, another Mighty Wayne doesn't believe in nobody other than what Eddie Howe says, but just a reporter. Everybody else, the follows. He says, must admit, the one thought I had was the only bad transfer window Newcastle have had in this summer's one. I don't understand what he said there, but they have actually recruited extremely well. He's saying we have a good window or a good recruitment.
Is this summer's one?
Yeah.
The only bad one is this
so
season.
he's saying this summer we had a good recruitment.
No,
he also says
the only bad one, didn't he? The only bad one is this summer's one.
Okay. He also says they have actually recruited extremely well with the odd mistake or short-term signing to avoid relegation.
Yeah, like Matt Target.
Yes, scouting and data use can improve, but mainly it's about getting the deals done. They didn't get the Guehi deal done. Mitchell led that negotiation, says Luke Edwards. Now he's throwing the punch at Paul Mitchell.
No, he's not throwing any punches.
This is unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable to me.
What Luke Edwards has got it bang on there, because what he's saying is that Mitchell has said that our recruitment right up to this summer has been spot on.
Right. And Mitchell doesn't say that. Mitchell says the opposite. And Luke Edwards here saying
Mitchell doesn't say the opposite. Mitchell has said in his interview that Newcastle's recruitment strategy hitherto has been fantastic, with the exception of the relegation threatened when they first took over, when there was a few emergency signings. You've just read it out.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
No. Wait. Mitchell says that our recruitment is not evolved, is not modern for football standards today, and it needs to be evolved. Mitchell said that.
Correct.
Edwards.
That's correct as well.
Okay, Luke Edwards is saying they have actually recruited extremely well. Opposite.
Never mind what Luke Edwards said. What Paul Mitchell said was,
that's fine,
we have recruited extremely well.
He never said that. He didn't say we're extremely well. Luke Edwards, I'm giving you his opinion. I don't know why you debated me on debate. Luke Edwards, get on Twitter and type in there. Don't debate me. I'm just reading his opinion. I didn't debate Luke Edwards. I agree with everything he said. He says they have actually recruited extremely well with the odd mistake or short-term signing to avoid relegation. Yes, correct. Scouting and data use can improve, he says. Correct. Which is what Mitchell says he wants. Correct. And Luke Edwards saying that that's what he wants. It can improve. Correct. However, mainly it's about getting the deals done. And Paul Mitchell, he puts down there, they didn't get the deal done. Mitchell led the negotiation. That is a punch to Mitchell. If you can't get that, I don't understand. This summer, it was about Mitchell getting the deal done. He hasn't been here any other time.
That's what I said, this window.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, this window, man. This is not an old tweet.
The Palace fucking debacle with Guehi, I think, has got someone going back to when we tried to get Dougie.
I was thinking that actually, Mighty, when I thought that the
Dougie
other day.
Friedman from them for
I think
I
I
thought
got
that was
something
an
like that.
when
unusual.
Paris said Paris has said, you know, Newcastle thought they could just come along and take Dougie Friedman from them.
From what? Okay. But Mighty Win, Mitchell says that, I mean, Craig Hope says that Paul Mitchell wants Eddie Howe to stay at Newcastle. Of course, you got to say that. But could not close the door on him leaving for England. Do you believe that he might be persuaded to go to England?
I don't think he will be persuaded to go to
From my
England.
point of view, I think because he's not if he feels as though he's not being supported, now that's his words back in Germany.
Yeah.
If he feels as though he's not being supported, then he'll go.
100%.
Yeah, he'll go.
100%.
He'll go, but I'm saying not necessarily to England because I don't think Eddie Howe fancies the England job.
Okay, but now my question to you, Gary, is because you say that if he doesn't feel supported, is there any more support?
No, I said if he doesn't feel supported.
If that's what I'm saying, if he doesn't feel
that
support,
was his words. Yeah.
Is there any more support to give? He literally
Well,
said,
that's what I'm saying.
"It's Guehi or," he said, "It's Guehi or nothing," and they said, "Yes, sir. Yes, King. Bow down to the King." And then nobody said, "Nobody stop recruiting. Stop recruiting." And Eddie said, "No."
But that's what I'm saying. As Darren Eales said to Mitchell, let's tread on sugar paper for the first window.
Yeah.
Try and get what he wants to keep him happy because the England job's still out there. So maybe everybody's just trying to make it like a happy house at the minute without debating. And like I said, anybody that does strategic type work brainstorms, and not everybody's going to agree with the brainstorming situation because everybody will have an opinion. It's like us all here have an opinion on what Mitchell has come out and said. Everybody will have a different take on what's being said, and that's exactly what happens in these backroom interviews amongst the lads there. One will have an opinion. Now, the problem is, and we've known it from the Germany, like I keep going back to Germany, we knew Eddie wasn't happy with Mitchell coming in because he knew he's not going to have the control on the sales and the boys as he did before. And I think that's where it's all boiled down to. So I think this one has been a test of the water to see exactly what we can do. But what he's had, instead of going out there with £70 million, which would have put us up against the ceiling again with the PSR, he's gone in with a flat rate 2 weeks ago and said, that is as much as we're willing to pay for this lad, take it or leave it. And they've gone the other way. Now, even though Eddie was offered two more, well, he says a few more players, Eddie said, no, it's Guehi or nobody. Now, who do you blame for that?
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
And trust me, I was, before this situation, I was backing Eddie. I didn't think he had anything to do with it. But because I said, if that's true, yes, there would need to be criticism to Eddie. But I don't think it's true. What comes out, Paul Mitchell says this, and then it's Mighty Wayne doesn't want to see it, man. It's unbelievable. It's right in front of him, just like one of those 20 cans of Monster right there in front of you. It's right there, man. Why can't you read it? Just a piece of news, by the way. Newcastle United Academy has made some new appointments to its coaching staff as the club continues to enhance its talent pathway. Not sure who the names are. Anybody know?
Want me to tell you?
Yeah, go on.
Bear with me a second. The Academy new appoints to his coaching staff as the club continues to enhance its talent pathway. As part of the club's development strategy, Academy Director Steve Harper and his team have guided a number of young players into United's first team in recent years, with 5 Academy players making their Premier League debut last season alone. At under 18 level, we've got a lad called Chris Moore, has been promoted to the under 18s lead coach, with James Marwood arriving from Middlesbrough to assist Chris at under 18s player development coach. Earlier, the club announced the arrival of Jack Brazil and Ian Skinner as under 16s and under 14s lead coaches respectively, with Graham Colson moving up a year group to become the under 15s lead coach. They will be supported by the new under 13 to 16 goalkeeper coach, James Montgomery, who has recently retired from playing. James made 85 appearances for Gateshead during the 11-year professional career. He as well as played in Forest Green and Southend.
Good
so
stuff.
There you go. Ben Ashcroft becomes professional development phase. Meanwhile, the club is pleased to announce the arrival of Mayo Arroyo, who has been appointed Arroyo has been appointed to the new role of pre-academy and foundation phase coach. At under 21 level, Neil Winskill and Jack Ross continued to take interim charge of the Newcastle under 21s following the departure of Ben Dawson. Session coaches have come in. Paul Barrow has returned to the club as a goalkeeping coach. And who else was there? There was another one. Oh, Liam Bridcut has also joined the academy as a sessional coach.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he was also down at Brighton and Sunderland as well.
Oh,
so it's been a massive turnaround on the academy.
Yeah,
and again, that's something that Mitchell's been doing as well as supporting Eddie. You know, what I mean? It's not.
He's been doing a lot
more than needed.
And he signed a bunch
I must admit,
that's true. That's true.
Did you see the under 21s the other night with some lads missing for the under 19s England team? They were outstanding.
Okay,
absolutely outstanding. Because Sanusi wasn't available, but that is it. Munda.
Munda.
Know the name.
He was
Munda's
outstanding.
Good, man. Munda was good in the
outstanding.
preseason. Munda's good, man. All right, talking about we did mention yesterday that there was a Red Bull deal. We're going to take Mighty Win to the patio for a minute out of jail. The Chronicle in their podcast, which is what is it called? It's Everything is Black and White.
Black and White.
With Musgrove, good stuff by Musgrove. They had Simon Bird speaking about the deal that could potentially be a lot bigger, the Red Bull deal, than we expected. So let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Sponsor or training ground sponsor, it's going to be a big deal, so they want to get it right. You don't want to strike a deal maybe like they did with Castor, the previous one I did with Castor, where it was undervalued and Newcastle maybe didn't get what they should have done for that sponsor. So if they're taking a little bit of time to get it right, I think people will applaud that. And as long as they are then seen to be getting the best value possible, people will be well on board with that, and they'd want that delay rather than having something right now or 6 months ago where in a year's time, you're still saying you still got 4 years to go, but the money you're getting is very undervalued for where you are as a club and a team.
Yeah, and you'd hope any deal they did had like bonuses in, or like a structure whereby if Newcastle suddenly become a top 4 club, they're paying a lot more, and you're not striking it on them being a 7th place club, not in Europe. So there will be bonuses, I would have thought. I mean, Red Bull's a big company, isn't it? They sponsor some serious sporting outfits and have them there. And once you've got relationships with these massive companies like Red Bull, then I suppose that the whole deal could be expanded and become bigger and become a shirt sponsor or a stadium sponsor or whatever. But yeah, like stadium sponsorship's another one. Other clubs have done it on their rebuilds, and if it's a source of income of like 20 million or 30 million or whatever it is per year, that's huge. So, and that brings in the old Mike Ashley controversy as well, where he wanted to rename, or he did rename St James's Park and showcase it as the Sports Direct Arena. And would fans be happy with that going ahead to not have St James's Park?
I think that's the key question, though, is that when Mike Ashley did, he just did it. We woke up and one day it was kind of just done. Whereas this time around, you would like to think, and from what we've seen in the last year or so, they would communicate. I think Daniels has gone on record to say something along those lines, that any changes we made to the name or to the ground, fans would be consulted, because it does mean a lot to the fans. But again, if it is bringing in, I'd like to think it would bring in a lot more than 20 million. It would be worth it. But I think that communication would be absolutely key, because fans would want to be consulted on whichever company would have their name above the door.
All right. What do you guys think about that? I mean, that's interesting. Now, with that just being fair, I mean, Ashley was just not liked whatsoever. So if he did anything, he wasn't going to be liked. So that's and thank you so much. Who put it Derek in jail? Somebody did it. I didn't do it, did I? Somebody was quick to do it. But did I? Okay.
Nobody's paid to get us out yet.
No, that's right. And you're going to deserve to be in there for all this shit you're talking. But again, Ashley was, anything he done was gonna. I mean, if PIF do it, they're going to do it. They're not going to ask Newcastle fans, "What do you think?" They're going to do it. And so, in my opinion, it is what it is. If RB St. James,
they call it the Stadium of Light for me. We're getting £50 million a year for it.
Well, don't go that far.
Well, don't go that.
Christ.
Come on.
He likes losing debates, man.
I'll take some names, but not that one.
Maybe the Red
come on, man.
No, but they were good. The Red Bull Stadium But you got to
We
put
are-
St. James Park though.
We are definitely missing a trick here, though. Even if we, I know they keep hanging on about the third party suggestion and bringing in somebody that can really make a dent. And it's if we had the stadium or the training ground or whatever. The problem is that could take years before that develops anything. I do think at this present moment in time, even if it's 50 million for training ground, the ground and shirt sponsor, the training shirt sponsor or something like that, make it 50 million. It's 50 million in the pot for us to go and spend.
Would
And I think
would
at this
they
present moment in time, we are
would they
getting
do
that.
it? Would they do it to the current St. James's Park, or wait until we build one?
Well, that's what I
Or do
said. To me, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're waiting. They're waiting for maybe for the feasibility report. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're
You can still-
very, very sensible, and they're waiting for various things to fall into place. One, the feasibility study on expanding St. James's Park. Two, the net result of the Man City case regarding associated party transactions.
Come on.
Because until we know that if we get carte blanche on getting the sponsors, sponsorship deals without any oversight from the Premier League, you can guarantee we'll be getting Aramco and Saudi.
Yeah.
For like, nine-figure sponsorship deals.
Close every loophole. Apart from selling hotels. We just need to sell some hotels to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. We need to build some first.
Yeah, build some hotels, sell them.
That's the alternative. The alternative is to move out of town and build an absolutely, build a mini city in effect with conference centres, 2 arenas, one for us, one for the women in the training ground, the full modern training facilities, everything to go with it, hotels. Then they would have a massive stack effectively out of town next to the stadium where the club are getting every penny, because it would be pointless going anywhere else before the match. You would have to go there. And that to me is, as much as I wouldn't want to see it, I'd far rather the city came to their senses and let us expand St. James's Park. But if they're not going to do that, if they're going to use this stupid listed buildings to stop us doing that, then we should just
historic buildings. But they
are stupid.
Historic, but nobody ever sees them, man.
Yeah, they're hidden behind the
Hey, when I'm going to Newcastle, man, I'm gonna go see them. What are you talking about?
We've got 81 Grade 1 listed buildings in Newcastle, and every single one of them, 80 of them, get more views by the general public than what Leazes Terrace does. The only people that see Leazes Terrace are the people who live there.
What if someone like you, Mighty Win, bought Leazes Terrace?
Ooh, he got paper.
You can't buy Leazes Terrace because it belongs to English Heritage.
To English Heritage. Okay, what's the way around that then?
You get a CPO. You've got to go through the Department of the Environment, and you've just got to do that. You've got to. You threaten to leave the city centre, and the whole of the city centre, be thousands of businesses in the city centre
rioting,
who absolutely depend upon match day revenue to keep their businesses going. Tens of thousands of jobs, and they would just say, "Hey, if they're going to move to Ponteland, knock them down." You're quite right, Pierre. I am There's not many of them left.
I
tell you what, if Newcastle could win something, you could knock me down then, and I'd die.
They got you like a statue, man. You're like a statue. What happened here, bro? What's going on here?
Yeah, what's that? What cards have you got?
What you got going on there, old man?
That's me. That's me winning there.
Why is the other guy on the phone though? That's cheating in a game of poker.
There was a lot of cheating going on that day, actually.
He was out. Ricky's on the phone. He was out.
You know why there's a lot of cheating? because the man won. Look at that.
Look at that. How much did you win?
You're like a monument, man. You
Poker
definitely look
face,
like
huh?
Come on, man. Look at all them chips. And you still wait, time
You've got
out.
enough now. You've
You
got enough
did
now for
not
that
finish your
turkey team.
beer, man. Look at your beer now and look at your beer then. What's the matter with you, man? You're a damn rookie, man. You're letting the
And
beer
he
get
wore his
hot.
he wore his Sunday best as well.
He's always
You
dressed
gotta
smart.
keep a clear head when you're playing poker, kid.
And
Yeah.
why do you squirrel like that? Why do you get to the side like you're like a young lad, man? Get up, sit straight, man. What's wrong with you?
He's a good lad. How much money did you win, Mighty Win?
How much are you?
45 quid in that hand.
Oh, in there.
Oh man,
And a 10 of the hand before.
you couldn't pay me enough to. You couldn't pay me 45 quid to play, man. Come on, man. What's wrong?
No, it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? We play for we just put fivers in, you know.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good little tournament.
It's good. But don't let that fool you, though. Don't think that the Mighty Wind is not working and reporting and using his ITK skills because he's on the phone all the time, baby. You know, look at him on the phone. He's getting some information. He's definitely getting some information that Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell are together chilling. They're having a good time. There's no fights.
Right.
There's no disagreements. You got to change that shirt, man. Why you wearing that shirt like that? Are you a Brighton fan?
That's a nice shirt.
You're a Brighton fan, man. You're
That's
a Brighton fan,
35-year-old, that shirt.
Really?
Oh man, that's a monument right there in itself.
It's virtually. It used to be royal blue and bright orange, but that's what the sun's doing over there.
It's older than your kids, isn't it?
It's listed.
And by the way, we promote everybody's projects right here. So if you happen to be on farmersonly.com or matchmaker.com, follow this man right here. He is your man. Look at that smile. Look at those blue eyes, man.
Yeah, there's beautiful blues. Wow.
Look at that. Seduction.
Good, you were quite the heartthrob back in the day.
Man, that is good stuff right there, man. Hey. Happy glabba, happy glabba, happy glabba. Hey man, look, that's the good thing about this channel. We're gonna disagree, we're gonna fight, we're gonna shout, but at the end of the day, we love each other enough to make emojis. So there you go. Everybody's a happy clap, but we do gotta react to more videos. Let's react to this one. Mighty Win, you might wanna step aside, bro. But this is Talk Sport. Gabby Agbon Lahore. Insist that Eddie will rethink England job due to PSR restrictions at Newcastle. Let's take a look at the discussion that the boys had and lasses and Talksport.
We're seeing here big names, big battles, with Casemiro saying, I won't Turk the easy way out, with Casemiro determined to stay and just fight for his Manchester United position. So we'll get onto that in a minute. But I want to just turn your focus onto Carl Walker, the headline being here. Walker vows to win back his Lions place after being left out of Lee Carsley's squad. Because so Carl Walker, basically saying, the 90 cap veteran, saying, I'm disappointed, but you have to accept it and just try and prove people wrong. So that's also one of the back pages. And then just finally, which we'll come into in a minute, but I want to grab your focus here because the Daily Mail says Toons Howe's hint because Newcastle won't block Eddie Howe's exit if England come calling. So Gabby, if you were the FA and you had everyone at your disposal, how high up would Eddie Howe be on your list?
Very high. And if I'm the FA, I'm looking at the way football is now with the PSR problems. That isn't what Eddie Howe thought was going to happen. The future of Newcastle at the moment with these rules, you can't buy anyone. You know, Newcastle fans probably thought these new owners, 300, 400, whatever billions they've got, and you can't spend it. So Eddie Howe would have been frustrated at the transfer window. And if he can get out and go and manage his country, I'm sure he will. So if I was the FA, I'd use that to their advantage.
So do you think if you were Eddie Howe, you would take it if you were
100% now? Because the frustration, I don't think Newcastle finish in the top 4. I don't think their squad has got enough depth in it. He would have been disappointed not to get Guehi in, even some more replacements up front as well with Callum Wilson's injury problems. So I think part of Eddie Howe now would have changed his thinking of like, okay, then maybe I will look at that England job now.
Would be exciting.
Look at that. He's got his opinion, you know, and a lot of Newcastle fans don't think we're going to finish, in top 4. Mighty Win thinks we're going to win the league. So that's up for debate, of course.
Yeah,
But
he's so good.
interesting takes right there on Talksport DX.
Well, yeah, I think he's a bit naive, Agbonlahor. He said, "Oh, we did add a striker, obviously a third striker. I know we didn't add a big name, but we were never going to do that." I think Eddie might be getting a bit disillusioned, though. But there might be certain aspects of the club. If we want to run the club with a sporting director, maybe we need to. Maybe it isn't for Eddie. Maybe it's not his bag. Could be wrong, but that's what it seems like, doesn't it? So I just get a funny feeling like they put this Carsley in charge. That can't be the long-term appointment, surely. So Eduardo, well, we shall see. But I think it could be something could happen in the next few weeks, and it might actually
Gotta be English, man, according to Mighty Wayne.
Might be one of those things that works for all parties, though. You never know.
Well, we have to see at the end
He's
of the season.
the only man, isn't he? He's the only English man who could.
He's the only man. He's the best. Now, as far as PSR is concerned, because you did mention in DX quite astutely, to be fair, about the Leicester situation and stuff like that. But Sky Sports had a piece on Twitter about, do the Premier League need to change their PSR rules? We've talked about it, of course, but let's take a listen to what Sky Sports had to say. Come on now, where is it?
The rules so that loopholes like that can be closed?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of aspects to it. So there's rules like that, and then there's also the fact that, as we've seen within the window, the fact that clubs are now having to comply with PSR in such a strict way and operating according to that means that, in line with what we've seen within the transfer window, that academy players are being sold and other things are starting to happen at clubs, which means that the rules are there for very good reason. It's just the way that they are currently implemented and the way that clubs are having to comply with them isn't exactly how they may have originally imagined it when the rules were drawn up.
Yeah, because if I'm a fan, I hate the idea that a player who's been with my club since he was 8 or whatever it is, kind of, in quotes, has to be sold.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that wasn't the plan, was it?
No, it wasn't the plan. And the fact that that's now happening means that there will undoubtedly over time be either a change to the rules or there will be tweaks made, because it's not in anyone's interest, clubs, the Premier League, or anybody else, for academy products to be sold. Every fan, every club owner wants to see youth promoted, and if that now starts to not happen, or they get sold sooner than they would because the fact that they represent a pure profit on from an accounting perspective, means that it's not the way everyone would have imagined it when it got first implemented.
Interesting, man. But it's Bilbo, I think, is commenting something there. Premier League clubs are voting for this to stay. So who are these teams that is it just the vast majority of smaller mid-table to lower teams that wants this? Does that really benefit them? Because they can't use money to buy players, or I mean, they can, but they can't do it all the time. So certainly, the youth academy players are something that they can use to become better teams, and obviously they can't do it because they have to sell them. We had to sell Anderson. I don't know if Yankuba is Minte academy player.
Not really.
He wouldn't be considered.
No, because we paid a fee.
Yeah, he would be classed as our academy player.
No, but we paid a fee. We paid a fee for him.
Paid 6 million for him.
Yeah, but he was still under 18 at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's
he
what
was 19.
Yeah, but you imagine look what Niles put underneath this.
I think we could end up selling Sanusi next summer. You see, Sanusi to me is really really good. Well, I mean, amongst the young players that we got, I guess. And I think he should be able to, gradually come into the first team. But it looks like we got to sell him.
What about this Pivos guy? Pivos, is that his name?
Oh, Pivos, I don't even know, man.
He's gone to Willem too.
He's gone to the Dutch league, so
maybe Willem too.
He's followed the Minty route.
Will he ever play a game for us? That's the question.
Yeah.
Well,
is he good enough?
That's like a lot of them, isn't it?
Isn't good enough, this guy.
Well, what I mean is like he goes there, he has a great season. Do we go? We can cash in on this fella, or do we put him in the team and go? Oh, it could be a nice little asset.
Yeah.
If you look at where he plays, and that's like the right centre back, DM, are they coaching him to be that replacement for the likes of Char? Because he can play the ball, He's very good with his feet. He's very good at reading the game. He's got a lot of backing from previous coaches. That's the reasons why he was brought in, I believe, was the fact that he has got all of the technical ability to be our next Shah.
Yeah, Matic raved about him, didn't he? Was it Matic?
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Really?
All right. Let's. This is the one, Mighty Win, that's going to take you over the edge, bro. So you might want to smoke 3 cigarettes at once if you need to. But Simon Jordan goes in on Newcastle's transfer strategy this summer and criticizes failed Guehi pursuit. Let's take a listen to their pundits, and of course Jim White is of course there.
Newcastle United in the transfer window with Tesco Mobile for Business. Simon, when you look at it, is there a bit of buck passing underway at Newcastle? The reason I ask, Newcastle sporting director Paul Mitchell, not long at the football club, Mitch as he's known in the football world. I've known Paul Mitchell since his time at Southampton. Pretty successful guy, been at Monaco, amongst other places. Excuse me. He says, I think it's difficult coming into a predefined strategy. Should our scouting and recruitment be driven more extensively with a wider reaching net? It definitely should. So he's saying we had a player as the key core target. He says that player, presumably Mark Guehi, because he tried once, twice, 3 and 4 times, didn't get him. He said we were still in dialogue with Palace all the way through, but Eddie Howe was clear, very clear. And it's not up to me after 7 weeks to say we'll do this and that because I'm in a supporting role. There were other targets. Could there have been more? I would say potentially, but Eddie was very clear that he had to feel comfortable that the person added value because we really have good players. That's why we ended up where we did. Why do you think Paul Mitchell's got to come out and say that?
I don't know. And I don't know why he'd say, I think it's difficult coming into a predefined strategy. Because if it's difficult, don't come into it then. I'm assuming that you were recruited because you met the requirements of a predefined strategy. Otherwise, why would they recruit you? And ultimately, once you're in that strategy, you can start to finesse and to look at the way that things can evolve as you're trying to evolve the football club. So I think that's a bloody stupid thing to say. And we also understand that most football clubs want predefined strategies. You want to be able to have continuity. You want to be able to have a situation where senior appointments can leave and the strategy of the football club doesn't change with the weather based upon the personality that's sitting in the dugout or sitting in an influential position. So I think that's a ridiculous thing to say in the first place.
He says the previous strategy, is it fit for purpose? Not last winter, gone. The winter before that. Is it fit for purpose in the modern game? Because other clubs that have adopted a different approach over time with more intelligence, more data informed than we are, actually prospered in this window. That's where we have to grow to be now.
Well, you buy in expertise and you buy in excellence. So excellence doesn't.
He's having a swipe at the Staveley regime, it seems.
Well, I don't look. I mean, he may well be, and he may well be distancing himself from any of his responsibilities of being in an influential role in a football club designed to give managers an opportunity to make decisions or facilitate solutions for managers, shall we say? That's his function. Not to be deferential to managers, or to not have strong influence over managers, because managers will go, these guys will stay. He's the sporting director. There is a reporting line. I don't know what reporting line is at Newcastle, but I don't know why Paul Mitchell is assuming the deferential role in this situation. I'm assuming that he'd be sitting there with Eddie Howe saying, what do you want? Okay, you want a centre-back. You've identified Guehi. If we don't get him, what do you want after that? Well, I don't want anybody else in the entire world. I don't imagine that conversation happened. So I think ultimately, they all look at themselves because there's questions about what they have and haven't got, and there's pressure and expectation that was always going to be the case on this football club because the legacy of how much longer you can demonize Mike Ashley has worn off now. You're now into a new ground, a new territory. I don't mean football ground, but new expectations on this football club. And I don't care how many Newcastle fans get outraged by the fact that I would suggest they have expectations and delusions of grandeur. Every football fan has delusions of grandeur. It's not unique to Newcastle. It just happens to be Newcastle that have got very wealthy owners. So they would expect to be seeing a sea change based upon also the fact that Eddie made a rod for his own back. He overachieved. And he's being judged by those standards now. And there's an expectation that Newcastle, because of their ownership model, are going to be punching at a high level. If you're really good at your job, and you're really effective, which is the reason why you're recruited, you make effective changes very quickly, such as if you don't have a data network and you don't have enough intelligence, you build it and you build it quickly, because that's why you're good at your job. That's what you do, because an average person walking into an environment would do an average job. You're supposed to be in exceptional circumstances.
Well, he's saying after 7 weeks, it's not up to me to do this and that. He's in a supporting role.
And that may well be fair. And
I mean, on top of all that, Eddie spoke about his role in it all and how he saw it. This was Eddie, Simon.
You'd have to understand, in the majority of the other windows, it's just been, the whole structure of the club's been very different. So that's not necessarily a criticism of the structure we have now. It's just there's different personalities and there's a different way of working now. So yes, it probably has been the most hands-off I've been, but that's not necessarily a negative.
I mean, it's hard to work this out, Simon. I still can't get my head around why Newcastle didn't end up getting Guehi.
Because Palace weren't a willing seller.
No, but they were at a price. Were they not? They were at a price.
Well, I
think
think
you come back and back and back and back, you think eventually they'll wear them down and get them. They didn't get them.
Well, I mean, that's a strategy that only is based upon an outcome. And if the outcome isn't delivered, then you're in a situation where you're going to be accountable for that thought process. If that's the only target you've got, and Palace aren't, Palace are, doing the hokey cokey. They've got left foot in, left foot out, feel like it. Maybe they don't feel like it. Maybe they do it for 65. Maybe they do it for 70. And then they sell Joachim Andersen. And you look at it and go, are they really going to break up their centre-back partnership and effectively sell the entirety of their defensive unit in order to facilitate some cash and put themselves in jeopardy? Probably not.
Yeah.
So when I saw Anderson being sold, I would have been surprised if Palace sold Guehi as well. They didn't seem to have any problems. Parish talked about there was no issues with the players. The player made no noises about wanting to go out there in terms of I'm going to agitate. So Newcastle left themselves as a hostage to fortune. And that means they're all in it. So they can all sit there and go, well, it ain't me, Gov. And I've been a bit more hands-off this time than I've been used to. And I've only been here 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. But there was a task to achieve. And if there was a requirement to buy a centre-back and you're trying to take it out with a sniper effect, then you better be a good shooter. And if you're not...
Interesting. Cutthroat. He cut deep on that one, didn't he? I mean, obviously, we've debated on it. We've yelled.
Not saying anything we didn't know already.
Yeah. That's fine. But you don't like him, so you're going to have an issue with listening to him. But
no, a lot of what Simon Jordan says is common sense, but a lot of it's bullshit. What he said there was right. He said, according to Mitchell, and he said, I don't want anybody. I can't remember the exact wording, but effectively what Eddie was saying, if I can't have Guehi, I don't want anybody else who won't take us forward as much as I believe Guehi will. And like I've said on numerous times now, since Cher got suspended, if we'd went out and spent, say, 40 million quid on Emil Kraft, and nobody had ever heard of Emil Kraft before, let's assume he's somebody that Paul Mitchell's plucked from some league that we didn't know and we'd never seen him play, etc., etc., etc. And he'd come in and done the job that Emil Kraft has done, we'd all be raving about him, saying what a fantastic centre-half he'd found for. But because he's one of our own and we had him already, it goes under the radar. And, he's a makeshift until Cher comes back.
Well, I mean, he is, though.
He's not the long-term solution.
He's not the long-term, exactly. I mean,
I agree, he's not the long-term solution.
But you can't agree and disagree at the same time. You're
trying to do what I want.
No, you're fighting both.
Yeah, that's fine. You just make no sense. So, I mean,
well, in your opinion.
Exactly. You're arguing with yourself. It's simple, man. You can't say, that we did all this great recruiting, we got Kraft, and then saying that he's not going to be part of the future. Well, what do you, I mean, it makes.
Right. We had a shitty window, but we didn't have a shitty window because we didn't get Guehi. We had a shitty window because we didn't buy a right winger.
So if we would have gotten Chalobah, you would have been happy. It would have been a good
wouldn't have been happy.
So what are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. So if you would have gotten, for example, I don't know what the right word.
If we'd only got Guehi, I still wouldn't have been happy.
What if we'd got Bowen?
I'd have been very happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
If we'd got him Wemo, I would have been very happy.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
Oh, CR7.
Would have
man.
made a few bobs.
CR7.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
CR7.
Like,
You know, let me tell you something. CR7. You know how much money in PSR we would have gotten next year?
That's the thing. Yeah.
Ooh.
Would it not be worth us bringing in one just washed
Yeah.
up big name like that?
Yeah, it would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Or
Let's go to
Japanese player or something.
You'd have to do the sums.
Yeah,
It's
Kubo.
cost benefit analysis, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean his wages. are crazy.
Let's go to Twitter Reacts, man. Let's see what Twitter is thinking about all this, and then we're gonna get finally
Mouth
into
of
the
the
comments.
time.
Mouth of the time says, for me, I feel, man, everybody's got an opinion, man. God, you know how many people have told me to shut you down here because they don't agree with you, but I back you up because you have your opinion. Simple as that. Mouth of the time saying, for me, I feel it's inevitable that this will all end in a disaster at some point in the near future. Something just feels off about the whole Howe Mitchell Eels dynamic. I'm yet to be convinced that things are as positive and rosy as these PR exercises suggest. And we're going to give people, it's not about a certain account or
Right,
anything like that.
well, hang on. Straight away, as rosy as these PR exercise suggests, the PR exercises, for what they're worth, have done exactly the opposite, but should suggest things are rosy. The PR exercise, if wheeling Paul Mitchell out for the press conference is what he's referring to, has done exactly the opposite.
All right. Steven says here, Steven, this is regular fans on Twitter. We're going to get to our fans here in a minute. Steven says, if Newcastle had done what Chelsea had by selling 2 hotels to a sister company to get around PSR, there would have been calls from other clubs to have the book thrown at us. Interested? I mean, a lot of people feel that way. Michael Martin says, I don't understand Paul Mitchell's claim Newcastle has overpaid for players previously. I've always considered the club to have done very well on the buying side. Bruno, Gordon, Isak, Botman were good buys and gave hugely increased in value. Likewise, Tonali, we hope, Strange, he says.
And Hall Livramento.
Hall Livramento. Good players for us.
Meme Castle United. Good stuff, Meme Castle says. Who isn't signing for Newcastle? Guehi! You see that one? Eddie Murph says, Eddie Howe, when Paul Mitchell asked him if he is happy with the amount of English players on the transfer shortlist.
Is that a question?
I don't think Eddie wants English-born players. I think he just wants Premier League proven.
He just wants good. He wants players who are better than what we've got.
Yeah. All right.
Or young players who we can develop to be better than what we've got.
Eddie Howe way, he's not Eddie Howe, obviously, says this reported on our club is hilarious. Obviously, a terrible window. I get that, but when that's over, it's scaremongering about Trips leaving with no replacement. Then we have a decent start, 7 from 9 points, and now it's back to Howe getting the England job. Where's the light? Says Eddie Howe.
The light's in my cell.
Oh, so you see how that works with him? He agrees with him. All of a sudden, the guy's a genius. We give everybody the same platform, man. You know, all opinions. Steve, I think this is Steve from Old Hitonian. This is NUFC Matter Steve, right? Steve,
yeah.
What's his last name? Steve Hasty. Says, planning for the long term. Paul Mitchell has never lasted more than 3 years at any of his last 4 clubs. Ooh, look at Steve. Southampton, Tottenham, Leipzig, Monaco. So because I guess
for very good reasons.
A lot of directors.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
he's moved up in his
what's
job.
the reason?
He went from Southampton to Tottenham with Poch.
Well, with I mean, those are stats. So just basic stat, nothing. No.
Poch.
I mean, well, we'll see. Will says, looking forward to the next few transfer windows. Now Mitchell can plan ahead. It wasn't the best timing when he joined us, and with PSR and with the PSR deadline. There you go, spot on. Clayton Hughes says, why does it seem like certain journalists are desperate for Howe and Mitchell to clash? I've read a certain article that losing Howe would be a mistake on Mitchell's part. Is all this coming from a tiny quote months back from Eddie Howe, which he has since clarified. What are we talking about here?
Well, that's he's talking about there about
everything.
Quoting Germany saying
Oh,
he was
according to
quite happy here as long as he felt.
Oh, okay. Well,
wanted.
it wasn't. Come on, man. It wasn't
And
a
then-
long time ago.
Which
It was.
he then clarified in Japan.
And what?
saying that
And why does he need to clarify?
he needed to clarify what people were taking wrongly from his comments in Germany. All the
Okay.
shit stirrers.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, yeah, that's fine. That's your perspective. To the Athletic reporting, quoting Paul Mitchell, Toon Tycoon says the idea is that Eddie Howe is always coy or even misleading on transfers, injuries, and team selections. He ran the press ragged over it at times.
Ragged over it at times,
Sorry. I hope Mitchell would have understood that because it doesn't come across as such. The fan base knows, though.
Correct.
Says Tycoon.
And that's the other thing. The fan base at the stadium is completely different to the fan base on the Twitter audio.
No. Excuse me. The fan base on the stadium has one job and one job only. It's simple as that. They're not there to debate, criticize, or anything like that. They're supposed to cheer the team. That's all you need to see.
That as well.
Because I guarantee you, a lot of those people do disagree or agree with a lot of what was being said. You know, you can't just say 50,000 people are the ones that all that hate Paul Mitchell or hate Eels or whatever and love Eddie 100%. You don't know that. So they're there to do a job, which is cheer, and that's greatly and good, obviously. All right. Last but not least, let's finish the comments. Let's not dwell too much on the this debating people's opinions. That's their opinion. Tune Army says Eddie passed. If Eddie passed on options B, C, and D, then good for him. This is his choice as head coach, and if things fail, that's on him.
Exactly.
Nah.
You could quickly, Amri.
He's
the only one that's going to suffer. It's him that's going to lose his job if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, but it's a detriment if he does anything bad. If he just says, you know what, let's score an own goal every game, and that's his job, he'll lose it. He will, no. I'm putting a clear example. They're saying, you know what, own goal every game.
Clear
That's
example.
his job.
And then he's going to say, let's score an own goal every game.
He will lose his job. No, it's detrimental to the team. You lose the season, so it can't just be it's Eddie's fault. So if he does bad, and it's on him. No, we can't. It has to be some level of checks and balances, mate. As simple as that. But again, you have nothing to say about that. Stephen Harker, in my opinion, Eddie will be gone, and the money is being saved for big signings, and a celebrity manager. Hope I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case.
I agree with all of that.
Oh, you do?
Including the hope I'm wrong, but
you agree on that? That's crazy.
Well, you don't know whether you hope you're wrong or right yet, do you? Because you've got to wait and see how the season pans out with the current squad.
It's results. Every manager's job depends on results.
Yeah. All right, next.
And if Eddie's alleged stubbornness in wanting Guehi and no other centre half that he was offered that he considered to be as good as Guehi, and said, I'm quite happy soldiering on with what I've got, then so be it. The only person that's going to suffer by that decision is Eddie.
All right. Foxy says, so people were criticizing Mitchell for not saying anything. Then he talks his truth and then again criticize. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Our fan base is embarrassing at times. Gallagher Brown says, I really don't think there's an issue. It's all just different approach for Eddie working with a big team above. Mitchell came in too late. Ashworth rocked the boat, and the club's done since my opinion. The club's done since in my opinion. David says anyone who has started a new job knows it takes a time to settle in. Mitchell didn't have time in this window. All right, PDK. Mitchell is best in class. Howe is not, in my opinion. Jem Stasher. To be fair, Chris, I think Eddie was talking about not getting involved with negotiations and not that he doesn't know what's going on concerning player recruitment. Beer Viking says, with that hair in prison, DX is going to have. Oh no, come on. Who started that one?
I didn't start that.
Talk. Eddie admitted he's a control freak and a workaholic. He admitted
when did Eddie admit that ever? Workaholic, yes.
Man, you're supposed to be back in jail, man.
Yeah, I know what's going on. How did he get out?
Yeah, exactly.
He broke out.
He's watching Prison Break too much. But there you go. Niall says, I thought Jamie Rubin and PIF got shares. Oh, about Darren Neals. Is it public that Darren Neals is owner of Newcastle United? To me, that's unbelievable.
No. I
Owner,
thought it was
he's a
PIF.
shareholder.
What does shareholder mean, Mighty Wayne?
He's a part owner.
Exactly. So it means he's owner. But I don't believe that, man. That's to me. That's so you get to be a CEO and then you say, "Nah, what? For what?" You know, PIF don't need him. Does he have the money to invest in the club if PIF is willing to?
Well, don't forget, Chris. That's why Amanda Staveley had to sell 4% of her shares.
Exactly, because they won it all of it, right?
Well, no, they didn't win it because she hadn't got the money to invest it in the club. So she sold some of her shares.
And Darren Neals has more money than Amanda.
Oh no! Like I said, I didn't hear that.
Exactly.
Eels got the shares. I thought it went to PIF.
Is one of Mighty Wind's contacts. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. Mukhtar Muhammad says, genuine question here. We were linked with Unai Emery before Eddie Howe. We backed Eddie Howe with £425 million, and he only bought 14 players. With Emery, would have built a squad with the money. Well, I don't know about that. That's kind of unfair. I mean, Unai Emery was sacked from Arsenal as well. And now he's doing well at Aston Villa. I get it, and he's done well in his career. But
you've also got to take into account, though, guys. This is Eddie's first big club.
Exactly. It's his first.
So he's got to learn the trade as well because he's had control of everything else wherever he's been, and now he's got to learn a different strategy.
Ryan Foster, question. Sorry, Mighty Win. Mitchell said the way we do transfers is bad, and the transfer system in place is the worst he's ever seen. Well, I don't know if he said that.
Well,
verbatim,
I've never seen.
But I mean, more or less.
I agree with Mitchell.
More or less is the same thing.
That the recruitment system needs modernising, and that's what he's there to do. But he hasn't had time to do it in 7 weeks.
All right.
Let's see what happens by January, or particularly by next summer.
Adnan Ali, then one of them needs the sack, and Howe looks happy these days, so I would keep him, and Howe should have the final say. No, man. Adnan, I just disagree with you, man.
Why does one of them need the sack?
Well, that I don't agree, but one of them, Eddie can't have the final say because he is a manager that can be sacked anytime. Yeah. Because he's a manager, just like Pep Guardiola can be sacked anytime. I mean, he's probably the best City manager ever, but maybe that's not. But anybody else can be sacked. All managers can be sacked. So you can't just give solely. He gets 15 players, and what do you do when he leaves? The next manager comes, and then you can't have all the power.
Just out of interest, PIF owned 85% of the shares, and Reuben Brothers own the other 15. So Darren Neals hasn't got any shares.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, I didn't.
But he's officially a director now that he wasn't before.
Oh,
he was just CEO.
Well, CEO to me, I thought that was the top job, CEO.
I
didn't know you could get any higher.
He's listed now as a director.
All right,
so
Stephen Harker
flip-flopped from one opinion to another.
Exactly, and just like that, nothing being said, no question. He just said something, threw a bomb, and ran away. Unbelievable. Stephen Harker, popcorn tonight. Great content. Yeah, look, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Reed says flip-flop to Mighty Win. No smoking in jail win, says Jason Brown. Mighty Max says this is brilliant when we were getting heated and talking. Let me see. Let me skip through a few here so you can get to that. Beer Vikings is pitch sponsor, stadium screen sponsor, loads of things to sell. Yep. Dave H. PIF could buy this stack for $500 million. $500 million for the stack? How big is it?
Well, it's the ground, I think.
Obviously the ground. Yeah, but how big is the ground?
No, what he's saying is they could do with Chelsea.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand. Who owns the stack? The ground.
The club.
It's the council, isn't it?
Oh, so they can do
the council.
No, Newcastle on the land now, because that's the land that Mike Ashley sold originally to the development company, and then Newcastle United, the PIF Newcastle United, bought the land back.
Right.
Okay. All right.
My worry with the stack is that Newcastle will see how much revenue that place is generating on a match day and think, how the hell are we not getting this much revenue? And that's of 3,000 people. How are we not getting this much revenue per person for the people that are inside the stadium?
Yeah, because I was amazed on Sunday. I got an email saying I have to, if I wanted to go, I have to put my name down on a list because you weren't guaranteed to get in.
Yep. All right. Well, that's crazy. Man, it does get packed, I guess. Hey, there's some complaints, some people going around with the mic, man. Leave people alone. Leave people alone. You do content creation. People done. Everybody wants to be filmed. Alessandro Minetti says we don't have a winger because we sold Minte Simple S. Well, that amongst we didn't try to get anybody. Or I mean, I don't know. Look, Ilanga is the only one that was reported that we actually went at the end of the day. So you know. Bilbo says, when you say Amanda and her husband let the finance spiral out of control, what about Jamie and company who sit on the board? They must have something to say as well.
Yeah, but they are more or less silent partners, aren't they? They're just they're just investors.
I mean,
they're in the mix.
But they own more. They own more though. So you know.
Yeah. Well, they lent Amanda the money in the first place to buy her.
Exactly.
Shares.
So maybe it was just simple as, all right, we all owners. However, Amanda, you take care of that crap. You know, I gotta go sit in Aruba somewhere. Maybe that was the case.
I think she was appointed though, wasn't she, Chris?
Yeah, she must have been appointed.
She was appointed as the negotiator of the talker, because she obviously went to the Premier League to get the money for the BN Sports, so she negotiated that price with the Premier League just to get PIF involved. Because without her going there, I mean, she's been working on Newcastle since 2017. It's not a new thing, so she was certainly put into place for that reason.
Yeah. Search Terminator Seed says how comments in Germany were deliberate. They weren't innocent. He was laying out a marker down to the hierarchy in public that he needs to work in a certain way and wasn't too chuffed.
I agree with that. Chuffed.
Cloud says, Chris, what the hell are you on about, mate? I'm on about my convictions, man. That's what I'm on about. And last Jordan Live, Chris is the Simon Jordan of NUFC Talk TV. It was going well. It was going well. Chris comes on a World War III, breaks out. Just kidding. Listen, I say my opinion. I'm critical, man. I'm critical. I go to the bone, brother. You know, I don't believe what people tell me. I just go right down to the bone. I don't ride with the wind. The mighty wind just rides with the wind. He just, you know, it'll be what it will be. But in my opinion, I just, you know, I look at what's being said and give my honest opinion on it. I just because I follow Newcastle United, I don't have to be. I don't want to use the term happy clapper because, you know, I've used to joking around, but you know,
what's the difference between happy clappers and bedwetters?
Well, I don't know.
Happy clappers are happy.
Well, I'm very happy, to be honest. I'm very, you know, that's the thing. I have a job to do here. I have punditry to do, man. People, a small portion of people tune into this channel. We got 107 watching. Overall, the whole show, 760 and 76 people watching. They come here for something. They don't come here if we're just going to put the score on the screen. We'll just put a screenshot, put the score there, and we just let it ride for 3 hours straight. And let's see how many views we get. People come here for opinions and debates, and that's what we bring. All opinions are welcome, of course. We don't censor anybody at all. So
we just put them in jail.
We put them in jail though because somebody's got to pay. You can't just say shit like that. But anyways, look, it's been a great show. No, Georgia for life, easy tiger. No, man, listen, I'm good. And let me tell you something. One thing about me, I will debate. I wake up debating myself. So listen, I'm a debater, man. That's what I love to do. You know, that's maybe something that's not good, but you know, it is what it is.
The Tiger King talks more sense than Chris.
Oh man, and that's why he's dead or in jail, like you. Anyways, DX, sorry, man. I know you're falling asleep, brother. But
I'm exhausted, but no, it's all good. It's interesting.
It's all good, man. You gotta go to work tomorrow. We do got a show tomorrow, so we gotta go right now. And thank you so much to everybody. Appreciate it for your support. You know, it's great to see all these people tune in. Davis's mass debates. There you go. You know, Mighty Max has been a favorite show. All the hosts has been a hot one. Yeah, it's been a hot one. Tomorrow, Peru tomorrow, big game. Yeah, we do got a big game because, you know, I don't have nobody to debate on that, man. You know, well, I do actually. In my family, we just get angry and shout at the players. But we shite. I'll take Eddie Howe though for Peru. You think that can happen?
Absolutely.
Hey, there you go. But anyways, thank you so much for your support. I'm Reed. You're part of the channel now. You're a silent reporter. You're gonna get some good stuff for us. DX, great stuff, of course. Gary, great stuff. And you already know who's shite, but you know we're not gonna do too much on that. Thank you so much for your support. We shall see you on the next one, folks. See you all at the panel as well. Thank you. Go on and sleep. Don't wait. Just go on and sleep.
How are the lads?
We'll see you on the next one, folks. Ciao, ciao.
I love it.